Alright, what's up everybody? I'm using a different platform today, so if I'm a little slow in switching things up. Okay, here we go. Alright, so as you guys can see, it's kind of a different platform. I am using Streamlabs OBS instead of the typical OBS, so I have some interesting things here. I have the YouTube up. We have a different chat bar. I don't think the chat bar is actually working though. So yeah, I think I guess the chat bar is not gonna work today. Well, at least it's on there, right? Yeah, a few things I need to change, obviously. Yeah, I think I need to move the white elephant symbol at the bottom right too. I need to move that somewhere else. But, little things here and there. What can you do? Every show is always a little bit better. All right, well, as usual, we're gonna have the Discord. We're gonna get the Discord involved. I'm gonna engage the chat here a little bit before I get onto the Discord. I want to do some announcements too. This is usually like a Red Elephant's backup channel, but it's turned more into it's more back into my own personal channel, and now it's turned into its own thing to a degree. So if you guys start seeing me do more things here, it's just because the Red Elephants is getting a little bit more. We're getting a little bit more professional and less like alternative media. So you'll only see me probably do some pre-recorded videos, some like only big protests. You guys won't see like fashy cut streams or any of that kind of fun stuff. You'll probably see that on here though. Whenever I have the time. I won't have the time for the next 2 weeks. Unfortunately, you guys probably won't see me do any IRL streams for the next 2 weeks just because I'm just so busy with things. I saw one of you guys got angry about like my title calling it clickbaity. We should be doing whatever it takes to get the message out. So if it's clickbaity or not, I just like fun titles. Let's see. The music is always Urias. They have good music. Plus, I know I won't get copyright hit by them, so I use their stuff. I think I have a link in the description if you want to go to their channel. It's in there. But yeah, it's good music. I don't always listen to it. I usually just kind of play anything and I just kind of leave. So if I've seen sometimes where the video gets played and maybe the video might, it's quoting some people or something, but usually I don't watch all the videos or any of that. Yeah, I like talking about the drama too. Everyone likes drama. I like talking about it. Some people don't, but I like to give my my point of view on all this stuff. Oh, what the chat bar works? Wait, let me see. Let me. That looks weird though, doesn't it? Let's see. He hasn't changed the title. I did change it. I'm getting, like I said, guys, I'm getting better every stream. So I remember to change the title to something before. I'm very much against bombing USS anything, so I don't like that. Vince used Arthur. Vince was blocking Arthur from talking. Yeah, I'm sorry, Buzzy, but that is completely false. We were not oppressing Arthur. We were not doing any of that. We both are friends with Arthur. We're allies of his. He personally was the one that asked us about our political affiliations and all that and what we thought on the matter. We gave it, and he decided to use it against us. So I'm, me and Vincent and another friend of ours basically saved Arthur's life up in Berkeley. So if we were trying to use him or if we were against him, we would have left him there when he was being mobbed, spit on, pepper sprayed, being hit with glitter bombs. Those groups of leftists, just like, it was ridiculous. If we somehow didn't like Arthur for some reason, we would have left him there. But we didn't use Arthur. Arthur was, he's burged out. He rage quitted. He kept interrupting him. The first time we had to keep muting him because he was in a loud environment. That kinds of those kinds of things. But if you just played by the rules, just like Nick did, I know with James, there was a lot of ad hominems. I get it, but um, when you come onto our channel, when you ask us, hey, can I come on your thing? Can I debate something? We let him go on, and then he started playing this whole, oh, you guys are jumping me. Like, no one jumped you. I barely said anything. Vincent only asked questions to push the conversation forward. It was Vincent's platform, by the way, so he could do anything he wants. And he was quiet the whole time. And it was only, I'm sorry, but Arthur, he spurred out, and I'm a friend of his, but I'm not gonna be some blind loyalist either. Especially when you start attacking me and my platform. So that's a whole different ball game. Let's go down some of the chats here. Yeah, next next show. This is not clickbait. Watch them complain. Yeah, I don't look. I like you guys and I take your advice, but when you guys are saying some stupid shit, I just ignore it, and that's just the internet, right? When people are saying things like that. Uh, uh, it's not right to put Ice's name in the drama. He's clueless. Well, I mean, it's not like we're not even talking about Ice here, really. We're just talking about that drama because he got involved well, he is involved, right? I mean, there's a reason why people are talking to him because he let a snake into his circle and that snake was polluting his circle. So that's why we're talking about him. Um, what happened between AJ and Shapiro? We'll get into that. We'll get into that. But if you guys want me to answer stuff, in case I go off on a tangent, I forget, just kind of hound me about it. David, why didn't you jump in and help Arthur when Vince and Nick tag team Arthur? There was never a tag team. Vince was just asking questions, and he would interrupt to tell people to stop interrupting. That was it. The problem with Arthur was he was doing a whole lot of complaining over like simple things, and he didn't need to do that, and he interrupted a lot. So if I had to give points based off just the emotional side, not even the fact side, I would have to give it to Nick. The first time, I think Arthur probably won that side because James was throwing a lot more ad hominems than needed to. I'm all for throwing out ad hominems, but it gets to a point where it's like, all right, it's a little much. Usually throw them back or throw them in like like a funny jab, like, oh, you're you live in your basement or something like that, something like that. Arthur shouldn't be live streaming from a noisy diner. Yeah, that was very unprofessional to go to a loud place and then go on a large platform like ours, and it was very, very unprofessional. I don't think Arthur is Jewish, but at the same time, I don't know. I thought Arthur was 40 or 50. What's up, white guy? What happened with Ice again? Ice let a snake into his circle, and he started to feel the effects of the poison, and he was smart enough to get away from it. So that's what happened with that. Knicker nationalism. Shout out to my Knickers, and by Knickers they mean Nick Fuentes fans. That's what they call themselves. I wouldn't call Arthur a shapeshifter. He's a very honest, straightforward guy. That's why I like him and so many of the people in the movement. Arthur was just being Arthur. That's what I would say. The problem was you don't really act that way in a debate. Like, it's great for activism. It's great to treat your enemies like that. But when you're going up against someone where you just have a slight difference in opinion, especially in a debate where you're supposed to kind of be very courteous, like you go, then I go, and we'll let a little bit of interrupting, happen. But when it's just like, no, I will interrupt him when he says this, I'm going to act this way. It got very militant, and just like you act that way in an activist manner, right? When you go into a debate, there's a time and a place, right? So you have to act a little different. From Anthony, yeah, I'd agree with that, but I would still say that's their fault. I mean, you need to research when you're letting people into your circles, right? If they had done the research, there never would have been drama to begin with. I like Arthur, but he tends to condescend people that don't agree with him, or he'll yell over people. He needs to calm down. Yeah, I agree. And when it came to the debate, he needed to calm down. When it comes to activism, that behavior works out perfect. But you have to be able to change your behavior based off whatever environment you're in. Okay, well, I think I basically got to everything in here because I saw some people shouting some stuff. Let me get the Discord into this, see what their opinions on some of these topics are. If you guys want me to talk about something, don't forget to, get on me about it. All right, let's see. All right, so I am inside the Discord. I'm in here, so if anyone wants to join in to jump on the on-air voice chat, I'm right here. But until then, I'm just going to pretend like no one's going to jump on, and I will. Let's see. I'll get into the topics then. Let's see. Where are the topics again? All right. So let's get into I guess I could change it, but here's the thing. If I change the Ice Poseidon drama to. What the heck is that noise? That goes for two things. I got a new notification, so if you hear a weird new noise, that comes from donation from Mel Gibson 138. Okay, we can admit Arthur has done more locally than anyone. Is he Jewish or Christian? To my knowledge, he is Christian. I'm pretty sure he said that everywhere. I don't know why people think he's Jewish all of a sudden. But yeah, he's Christian. If you guys want me to, I think he goes down that whole like Judeo-Christian kind of thing. Where it's like I'm Christian, but I give my money and I support Israel, so it's just like, just seems kind of weird to me. It's like you're Christian, but then you're like supporting people that think you're going to hell. It's a weird thing. It's a weird thing. It's like oh, I'm Christian, but I give I support like a Muslim nation and all of that. It just seems kind of weird to me. Who is in here? I heard someone join. V Balboa, one of my favorite Nimbas, is in the house. What is up?
Yeah, what's going on, Dave?
Talking about a lot of stuff going on. We have drama galore going on, and it's not just in the YouTube community. It's also going on in the larger section. We have Alex Jones and Ben Shapiro are are going at it, throwing the big bombs. It's not like these little YouTube, Andy Worski versus JF type scuffles. We're talking about, is Alex Jones going to be like the head of the alternative media, or will it be Ben Shapiro and the Daily Wire? So we're seeing some major punches being thrown. I will tell you guys that right off the bat, and I'm not a type of person that like I go on InfoWars all the time. I listen to their podcasts or any of that stuff. I watch them from time to time, kinds of stuff, because they stream a lot. There's a lot of content. It's hard to get to their stuff. But I will have to say I did very much get into the latest, and it was very intriguing to me because I really wanted to see where the loyalties lie of a lot of people on the right. Do they lie on the InfoWars or the like kind of neocon conservatism and the Ben Shapiro's? And then I wanted to see if people were more like on the middle ground, saying, you know what, we don't want the fighting, or maybe they chose a side. From what I saw, it sounded like, because obviously Ben Shapiro was in the wrong on this whole thing, trying to tell someone, what platform they can be on, kinds of stuff. Seems a little, it seems a little authoritarian, right? These people are all about freedom and that kinds of stuff. But then they're going around saying like, Kanye, don't go on there, kinds of things. And he got hit by Paul Joseph Watson, Alex Jones, basically the entire alt-right, all the civic nationalists, all teamed up, and Mike Cernovich too, and they all hit Ben Shapiro. And I think that kind of shows you that actually the alt-right civic nationalist people have far more of a grip on the movement than the Shapiros. Because the Shapiros, really, the people I got into arguments with on Twitter, seem to be mainly a bunch of just rhino, neocon, like old people.
They're all the never Trumpers. Don't forget that. They're all the never Trump people. They're like Ben Shapiro is the lifeboat on the sinking ship of the neocon Titanic, and they all find their ship, the old lifeboat on Ben Shapiro's Daily Wire.
Yeah, people forget about that. They because when the political thing happened, we all were like, "Oh yeah, he was never Trump or whatever." But it's kind of different with him because he's younger. So it's
Mhm.
like you can't easily just grab him and group him with like a Mitt Romney or a Glenn Beck or any of these like Reagan Battalion people because he's younger. Like there's obviously an age
Yeah,
difference. Like most millennials like him would typically be either I feel like either Hillary, Bernie, or Trump, not really voting for Ted Cruz. I feel like there's a small minority of people
yeah,
that would go that way. Um,
yeah.
Not only that, but Alex
Yeah, and
Jones
I feel
was
bad.
go
Yeah, I
ahead.
kind of feel bad. I kind of feel bad for Alex Jones too, because with David Rubin, I mean, it's very popular to dump. I mean, they do the same thing. All these obscure right wing internet personalities, YouTube celebrities, Twitter people, they all need a platform. And since Alex Jones is always just itching for just content and just go, yeah, anybody can just jump on. It's good views, and he does have a staff that's more in tune with what happens on the internet world than anyone else. I remember when David Rubin was on his show one time, a bunch of people, and all of a sudden when they get a bigger platform, they all tend to forget about Alex Jones. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Even though Alex Jones kind of helped them along, said, "Oh, it's okay. Free speech. I'll let anybody on my platform. Don't matter." Uh, but yeah, once they get their when Dave Rubin and all the other guys get their platforms more established, it seems like the all the obscure right wing conservative YouTubers all go from being obscure to having a little bit of a following to getting on Infowars, getting some uh, milking off some viewership off of Alex Jones. Then they all seem to end up winding up on Prager. Or Prager seems to be the last stop. I don't know why.
yeah. It's just interesting from such a young dude, and he's like playing this like, oh, I'm just gonna be a neocon. I'm gonna make like neocons like cool, and it's just like like, dude, there's like two ways you go. Either you join the leftist parade and you try to maintain power, or you jump on the real resistance and the revolution that is the MAGA event. And he's just
Mhm.
trying to jump on this whole like Mitt Romney, George Bush kind of train that died out a long time ago. And I think this was a long time, this was this is the end goal that's going to happen for him because like look, you're great at debating, you got some solid arguments and all of that, but at the end of the day, like when we think about who you are politically, like your message is a dying breed. Like the people that agree with you are
Yeah,
a dying breed. No one likes them. The left doesn't like them. The right don't like them. So
yeah,
it's like, look, dude, like I watch your stuff. Oh yeah, you have great. I get a lot of stuff from him myself. But at the end of the day, like politically, uh, his message and what he wants is ultimately going to lose. It's
yeah,
ultimately going to lose, and no one really wants it. And even kind
yeah.
of go ahead.
He's kind of his views are dated. I mean, he says everything he did is a total. He's like trying to make George Bush cool again. No one's going to make George Bush cool again. Everyone hates that neocon stuff. He's for open borders, but not for the open borders reasons for the leftists do. He says anyone can come here. The whole libertarian angle. Oh, as long as he works here and pays taxes, he's okay. In my book, even though even though it's still the same thing as what you get the leftists, he has zero appetite for any sort of protection when it comes to trade. I mean, this is like the worst of everything. He agrees with the leftists on everything except for different reasons, but the outcomes always end up the same. His goals and the leftist goals are all the same.
Yeah, like him and like Jordan Peterson, these people. And I
Yeah,
do look, they're smart guys. I agree with them on a lot of things, but they don't have what it takes to actually fight the left. They
Yeah,
don't have
yeah,
it. Like don't see they because the left knows that all they have to do is just act like a bunch of savage monsters. And when they behave this
yeah,
way, basically, they bully people into submission. And these guys, the Ben Shapiros and the Petersons, they use the same outlets that the left does. Basically, the difference is they're trying to play by the left's rules when it comes to everything that's important. They're pro diversity. They're pro
yeah,
people being, fucking sick freaks, and
yeah,
they're not really against any of that stuff. All like if you look at Jordan Peterson in the video that he got famous where he was talking to those the trans person, all he
yeah,
said was, "You can do whatever the hell you want, but don't make me call you a Z or a Zer." Because don't make me call you that was like his only thing. He was like, "Oh, you could do what you want, whatever." Like he's given them so much, there's only one little thing that he'll like fight them on. And I see a lot of people in the chat. They're bringing up how Shapiro is principled, and look, I have the utmost respect for principled people. Like if you think
mhm,
about the knights of the past who had a code that they lived their life by, and it's very
yeah,
respectable and things like that. But in a political sense, being principled means you can only fight in a certain way, and not only that, but you're giving the other side your playbook. So it's like I
yeah,
see this all the time. I see people on the right, and they're like, "Look, we're good people. We're Christians. We live our life in these great ways. We're the good guys, and we're gonna fight like the good guys." Whereas the left, they fight like the bad guys. All they care about is the W. They don't have principles. Like think about Joy Reid, where she got caught with all these anti-gay things.
yeah.
Did they really throw her under the bus? Like what really happened to her? Because I know
Yeah,
people
they're
on the
like
right, like
they're blaming it all on Russian troll hackers. Like, oh, that was from Russian troll hackers. I was like, but apparently she really believes that. I mean, where's the witch hunt after her? You know what I mean?
well, I mean, here's the thing. When you say you're principled, you're basically saying that we're gonna fight fair, and then the other side says, "Fuck that, we're not gonna fight fair." Like they'll do anything in their power. Like we saw that with like the altright.com getting censored,
Yeah,
and the people and that girl, I don't know, like she was connected to it on Twitter, and she was basically saying like we will do everything in our power to get rid of these people basically. And you see, they are willing to do whatever it takes in order to accomplish their goal. Whereas on our
exactly.
side, we're not willing to do that. We're only willing to win in a certain way. And it's like, look, and I use this analogy a lot. It's like, look, if you get into a fight and you agree to terms, and then the other side, once the fight starts, says, fuck the terms, rips up the paper and pulls out a knife, and you're like, look, I agree to fight fair. I agree to fight hand to hand. I'm just going to do that. 2 seconds later you have a blade in your throat and you're dead, and you're like, well, at least I died being myself. It's like, okay, well, I guess, but like, your kids are gonna get turned into fucking trannies next, so I guess, if that's the W you want to take, um
What was this? What was the saying that all the cosplay 3%ers oath keepers should say? I support your First Amendment right. What was what they always used to say? The boomers used to say, I don't agree with your views, but I'll fight for the death for you to keep them or some shit. I'm like, what? I was like,
yeah, it's so fucking cringe, you know what I mean? Because
dude, that's cringy, man.
yeah, because when you look at things as individuals, like we're all individuals, things get really murky, very muddy, and it's very difficult to kind of see what's happening. But when you think about everyone as a group, and you put everyone into groups, and then you look at what they're doing, and it's just like, oh wow, like we're a group of people, and we're willing to not only defend our people, but we're willing to defend our enemies who are not willing to do that. They will take us out any chance they get in any way possible. If they can punch you in the face, they will. If they can dox you, they will. If they can shut down your channel, they will. If you give them even an inch, if you give them anything, they will go out and destroy your life completely. Probably even kill you once they get the chance. But us, we're willing to not only protect them at some points, but we're willing to even kill our own. Like this whole punching right phenomenon. You see, and
Yeah,
this is the problem. Look, I'm all for having certain principles, but there has to be flexibility. and I think all the modern day like religious people probably understand
Mhm.
that the most, because obviously, it's like if you're a Christian, and then a lot of the Christians have backpedaled so much now. They support homosexuality and all this stuff, which they didn't before.
Mhm.
And there's the Christianity in itself has like backpedaled so much just to stay relevant. But you do have to be flexible to a degree, like even in like the ethno-nationalist circles, right? It's like if you were like, oh well, if you're only 99% white and not 100% white, then you're out of the movement. Like if you did that, there'd be
Yeah.
like only, I don't even know how many people, like just a few hundred people instead of like a
Yeah.
thousand or a million or whatever. But there needs to be some sort of leniency in the way that you have to be smart about it, right? You want to have a set of beliefs, but you need to know that if I'm in a situation where I need to be flexible, we do that because obviously we do, we do want to win. We do want the right
Yeah.
to beat the left at the end of the day, and that's what matters more than my own personal feelings.
It
Um,
would be kind of funny though to see Alex Jones get into a debate with Ben Shapiro, because Ben Shapiro he's debated every sort of leftist there is. He never actually really debated a white person, but I think Alex Jones does have the ability to bully him with his banter. Just not really.
David, is that you?
yeah, yeah, I
Yeah,
can hear
yeah, it's
you.
me.
I can hear you, Kenny.
Yeah,
Good.
yeah. I think that would be an interesting debate. Just have him just banter him, just bully side him off the podium with his banter.
But we have to realize that Ben Shapiro, a lot of people overestimate the guy because if you think about it, what is he known for destroying? He's not
Yeah.
known for destroying like
SJWs.
he's not he's not known for destroying like Christopher Hitchens's or any of these big brained people that we all think of when you think of a big brain person. He has basically just beat up a bunch of like 19-year-old SJWs that have obviously gotten F's in their history classes. So it's like, look, he does it in a very well mannered, respectable, high IQ'd way. But at the end of the day, he's not known for debating other smart people. He's just known for debating a bunch of dummies. So he gets way too
Exactly.
much
Another thing I
respect.
want to add. I mean, Ben Shapiro, and to be honest, I mean, he's certainly a crazy, certainly an interesting flip flopper. Always, I mean, he was a complete never Trumper until after the election, for one, which is that in itself should be enough to discourage anyone. you know.
That's true. What other problems do you have with him, Kenny?
What?
What other problems do you have with Ben Shapiro?
What are you talking about?
Like, do you have any other discrepancies about Ben Shapiro since Ben
Well,
Shapiro's fighting, Alex Jones?
he definitely has. I mean, when he there's actually a in the month after Charlottesville. He even got. He's actually been told to he's been told to grow up many times regarding a lot of inconsistencies, a lot of there's just so much, there's he's so I don't know what's going on with him, honestly.
Yeah, so would you say in the Ben Shapiro versus Alex Jones type of battle that's happening, would you take Alex Jones' side?
I absolutely would, even though they both are a bit less based than our group. Yeah, absolutely, because at least Alex Jones has some history with the Trump movement, and
Yeah.
it's funny. He said when Ben Shapiro's response to Kanye West going on Alex's show was basically he said no, no, no. And I'm like, wait a minute, and then he goes on by saying he claims that he sullied the conservative movement. What? What's sullying the conservative movement is people like Ben Shapiro who are trying to make it as boring as they possibly can. That's who's sullying it. I mean, it's gotten to the. I mean, it's this boring boomer neocon. He's just like Glenn Beck, someone who's this boring. Even though he is a Gen Xer himself, he sides with the boomer neocon intellectuals on a lot of things.
Yeah, it's like the whole David Rubins, the Dennis Pragers, these guys all like we should all be 1990s Democrats. We should be like that's the new conservatism. Today's conservatism, the future conservatives of America are going to be 1990s Democrats.
Oh,
it's like,
God.
no, yeah, I know. We don't want that crap. Get out of here.
Yeah, we don't want Bill Clinton again. Absolutely not.
Because they more or less act and behave and champion, even though they don't accredit to him, they don't say his name. They all the policies pretty much match up with what he was doing back in the 90s. Oh, we're going to be 1990s Democrats.
Yeah, and I don't have a problem with Trump going into office with the rainbow flag or any of that stuff because we all knew that he wasn't a conservative you know in the typical way. He wasn't a Republican in the typical way. He was kind of like he was a Democrat for a long time, then he turned Republican, but he was like something in the middle. But if we're talking about someone that's trying to become the face of conservatism in Ben Shapiro, who he's trying to bring back conservatism, and as you guys said, that conservatism isn't really that conservative, really, like you guys said.
It isn't really conservatism at all. I mean, honestly, I'd love to see, I'd love to replay because there was a video that Martin Sellner did roasting Glenn Beck. In fact, will the mic run in the background if I switch to a different app? Yeah.
Hey Kenny, we can't hear you.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Yeah, it's low. We hear a lot. We hear some.
You can. Yeah, okay. There's something going on. Yeah, what's going on in the background is my air conditioning.
Oh, okay. I don't hear it though.
Okay, no, you don't. You can hear me just fine.
It's just your voice is going in and out, like you're not talking into the mic.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, so something's going on. Okay, I'm going to change back to speaker and try something here.
All right.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, we hear you.
Okay, good. Can you hear me now? I'm in a different app.
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you.
Good. Okay, I'm gonna try here.
Do you want to mute yourself until you figure it out?
I'm on Martin Sellner's channel. I'm gonna play his roast of Glenn Beck for you, so you guys will understand what's going. So, because that's honestly what kind of situation we're dealing with in Ben Shapiro too. Hold on.
All right, sounds good. Martin Sellner, isn't that the?
He's European identitarian guy.
Austrian guy.
Hold
right?
on.
He's dating Brittany Pettibone. Pettibone.
Yep. Yeah.
I've got he roasted. Hold on.
That's fine. I had no idea that he even talked about
American
politics like that.
Hold on. Yep. Okay. Yeah. Sorry. He has multiple channels. This is his English one. This.
Have any of you guys ever tried any InfoWars products, by the way?
No. Yeah. Yeah. It's a little too silent. I'm gonna play it on a different device. Okay.
All right.
I've got my. I'm gonna play it on a different device. Hold on.
Hey Kenny,
I've never had any road walk.
Yeah,
I bought a Hillary for prison T-shirt. That was the only merchandise I ever bought of Alex Jones.
Yeah. The only InfoWars product I have is a Paul Joseph Watson shirt.
Yeah.
Oh, you were wearing that at the Laguna Beach event where
yes,
fights
I
broke
was.
out. Yeah. Didn't they retweet it because of your shirt? They talked about the event.
Yeah, it's he retweeted. Well, it was actually RC Maxwell's tweet, but yeah, he retweeted it.
Yeah. Well, what do you think about think about that guy, Victor?
Yeah, he's definitely gotten off the rails.
Oh, okay. So
yeah.
Okay. That's interesting.
He's a great guy. I've known him personally, but him and David, I honestly try not to take sides in in fighting, to be honest with you, but David and RC have gone into it with each other before, so I'm not sure why, but I'll ask him when we're offline and not live.
That's true. That's good. Keep it behind closed doors. That's what I always say.
Yeah.
I have kind of a famous saying when it comes to that RC Maxwell camera. I can't repeat it over the YouTube stream because I don't want to get David's YouTube stream shut down for foul language.
Wow.
Can't hear you. What is it?
I think we could say whatever we want on here. I just think that a certain group of people might start flagging my videos if
exactly.
Yeah, that's the thing. Because, you know, I guarantee you guys that my posts on Facebook are mainly just for friends because I get hit more than anyone. I got double banned just recently, and it has to be right-wing people that are doing it at this point because I don't go on BuzzFeed or any of these posts and talk shit anymore. So I really do think it is mostly other right-wing people, and there are a lot of right-wing people out there that are. Well, not even boomers, because
maybe the alt-right is doing it a bit more than most.
Well, I don't even talk about really my ideas. I just go out there and I just shit on the left. That's all I do. I don't talk about my differences with people on the right on Facebook or any of that stuff. I just talk about myself, or I shit on the left, which just typical stuff that all the right-wing people would agree with. Is the White Elephants going to college? Yes, I'm still in college. It's taken me a while, but yeah, I should be. I'm still there, and it's fun because
which college are you going to, David?
Oh, I go to Harvard.
Which college do you go to, David?
I go to Harvard.
Oh, really? Wait, what?
Yeah, I go there. I do like mainly online classes though.
Got it.
Yeah.
Other in buckets of blood.
Okay.
All right, you ready?
And
I've got Mark.
Glenn Beck is back. The last time I've heard of him was during his epic and unforgettable Donald Trump meltdown.
And so we will just soak each other in buckets of blood.
And unfortunately, he hasn't changed. And his last public meltdown is dealing with me and Generation Identity and the 100 decibel movement that is now in Europe. While the campaign video about 120 decibel on my channel has about 125,000 views, the video of Glenn Beck of The Blaze on his channel has about, I think, 4,000 views. So I laughed it off in the beginning, and as my US friends told me, Glenn Beck's program, The Blaze, is dead and only old boomers are watching it. But then Glenn Beck made a second video featuring a huge chalkboard. And in this video, he placed GI, and therefore also me, into a web of a ludicrous Russo-Bolshevik National Socialist Germano-European conspiracy theory. And that was the point when I decided, let's have some fun, let's make a response video.
Boomers.
Oh, that's funny. It's weird. These Gen Z guys, the boomers, the Gen Z, they have a mental illness. It's like they're sick.
Okay, ready?
In the first video, Glenn Beck asked himself what the hashtag 120 decibel is all about. And the funny thing is, he agrees with all the premises and all the demands of the movement, but still he doesn't like it. Why? Because a Twitter page he doesn't like is using the hashtag, and because of Hitler. Yes, literally Hitler.
This is exactly the same playbook used by Hitler and the Nazis.
By the way, just like Glenn Beck used all of our footage without asking, I'll also use his footage without asking him. His reasoning and his conclusion is bulletproof. Hitler was talking about national identity. Generation Identity, our movement, is also talking about national identity, and therefore reductio ad Hitlerum. He's also using this strange logic to make a link between Franziska, one of our activists, and Charlottesville, because in one picture, Franziska was holding a torch, and the activists in Charlottesville also holding torches. It's amazing that he's making these statements with a serious face. And the thing that's the most amazing about this video is that almost everything he states, every point he makes is either wrong or self-contradicting.
Little minion, this little gremlin. Beck's It's not even a goblin. He's a gremlin.
He claims that GI raised a lynch mob to storm a mosque, just copy-pasting the claims and the lies of the liberal mainstream media, while an activist actually went into an abandoned construction site of a mosque with a banner to set a sign against Islamization of Europe and France. He claims that Jared Taylor is a white supremacist and that he was disguised as a curly-haired Frenchman at Charlottesville. The only question here is, why does Glenn Beck think that this is what a Frenchman looks like? He claims that Richard Spencer is a neo-Nazi and that he interviewed me for his blog alt-right. He claims that Alexander Dugin is a global puppet master and that his book, The Fourth Political Theories, are Mein Kampf. And he claims that Alain de Benoist, the French thinker, is spelled
De Benoist.
It's clear that he never took one look into a book of Dugin or de Benoist. He claims that we are the foot soldiers of a global Russian conspiracy, and he completely misses the point how ideas work. And that's a deficiency he shares with all the liberal pundits. They think that when Trump wins an election, it's not because his opinions about mass migration are resonating with the public. It's because of Russia collusion and Russian interference and the troll army. They think that when GI is successful, it's not because we're talking about the burning issues, using the right tactics. It's because of a Russian conspiracy network. And they think that when I read a book about Alain de Benoist or Book of Dugin, it's not because they have interesting and challenging ideas. It's because I'm part of a global, national Bolshevik, national socialist conspiracy.
This is the Russian project. And it has to be one of the largest intelligence measures.
For those who just joined, this is Martin Sellner's response to Glenn Beck. We brought up in
120 decibel.
Gotcha.
No, the Austrian Freedom Party and many others are successful.
Yeah, that's for those who just joined. This is Martin Sellner's response video to Glenn Beck regarding and we're bringing it up in response to the Ben Shapiro discussion because it's a similar case.
So is because they are right. Glenn Beck does not understand how ideas work. It's not a conspiracy when they're successful. It's because they're interesting, it's because they are true, it's because they are talking about the burning issues. Glenn Beck and his neoconservative think tanks and pundits could not come up with an answer for the questions of today. They have no answer why civic nationalism is failing all across the West. And so the youth is searching for answers elsewhere. And they're finding it in the European New Right, conservative revolutionary thinking, and the generation identity. And we don't need a conspiracy or a worldwide national conservative movement, which I've never heard of before or watched Glenn Beck's video. They only need an internet connection.
They are from the right. They are left socialist.
And then Glenn Beck has the nerves to say that we are leftist socialists, that we are no real conservatives. Guess what, Glenn? You are not the real conservative. You have no idea about the foundations of conservatism.
Okay, this is the good part.
An internet
Gotcha.
connection.
This is the most relevant part to this discussion.
They are not from the right. They are uber left socialist.
And then Glenn Beck has the nerves to say that we are uber leftist socialists, that we are no real conservatives. Guess what, Glenn? You are not the real conservative. You have no idea about the foundations of conservatism. You never read Spengler, Kierkegaard, Heidegger, Burke, de Maistre, Schmidt, or Ziegler. You have no idea, no clue. Identity is beyond the socialism-capitalism dichotomy because you have no identity.
Glenn Beck.
In generation identity, we have a variety of economical opinions, ranging from libertarian to more socialist, but everything is grounded on a fight for a national identity. And the reason for that is that economical systems, governments, constitutions, they come and go. But what remains, the red thread, is our ethno-cultural identity. Family, people, tradition, faith. And Glenn Beck cannot grasp that because he's a modernist. Just like the mainstream liberal establishment, Glenn Beck is afraid of whites and Europeans to become aware of the fact that they are whites and Europeans. This is, look to your Hitlerum, literally Hitler. But if it was literally Hitler, to be aware of your own identity, to talk about your identity, then all these European leaders, from the ancient Spartans to the Christian kings, were literally Hitler. This is nonsensical. Is there a problem with demographics? Are you allowed to talk about your own identity? Is there a non-neo-Nazi and literally Hitler way to become aware of your own identity? All those questions are not answered by Glenn Beck. They're not even raised by him because he's not interested in answering questions.
This group promises a return to what makes you, your cultural identity with traditional values. But this is exactly the same playbook used by Hitler and the Nazis.
Glenn Beck's fake fast food boomer neoconservatism is hollow, it's shallow, and it's dying because it has no substance and no philosophical grounding. On the contrary, it shares all the basic premises with communism, egalitarianism, progressivism, and universalism. And that's why it's soaked by modernity. But there's a real conspiracy going on. If you listen very closely to what Glenn Beck is saying, you see that he's following the liberal globalist agenda in preventing patriotism in the West. Those people know very well their last chance, their last line of defense, their last weapon is the Reductio ad Hitlerum. The issues we're talking about, the topics, are so reasonable, so clear, so open for everybody to see that only if demographics and ethnic identity is eternally linked to National Socialism and Hitler, it can be prevented from becoming mainstream. And they know that very well. And Glenn Beck is following this agenda by push the whole issue of an ethnic European identity and demographics into this fringe neo-Nazi cult gulag of society.
This is the early stage of the Nazi movement.
And here we see the silent agreement going on between those people who have been leading this gulag and this part of society very, very unsuccessfully during the last decades. They want to keep their power. They're very happy to be granted this monopole over this issue generously by the mainstream media. The establishment knows very well they cannot prevent a rise of patriotism and identitarianism in the West and Western Europe. But they can, and they try to contain it to a very small and very powerless fringe of society. And in this task, Glenn Beck is doing the dirty work. But the great thing is, nobody's listening to him anymore. The strategy is not working. We are entering the mainstream. Thousands of independent producers and creators are rising up. And I'm sure that this video, cut in half because the audio didn't work, taken in my homemade studio with a terrible Austrian accent and a almost inexistent budget, will have more views than this video of Glenn Beck in 100,000 feet up the flames the studio I created. The reason for this is that Glenn Beck would never understand.
All right, we got it, Kenny.
In a society ruled by
that was a great video. There it is.
Okay, and that's the end of. But yeah, you get. But yeah, the idea, the point, the reason why. Now for those who just joined, the reason why I brought up Martin Sellner's video and I mentioned the part halfway in that is most relevant is there's the people who claim to be the arbiters of what is and is not conservatism almost invariably are in the movement to destroy it, and that's really Martin Sellner's whole point. We need to heed it. You know?
Yeah, like, we are not Nazis. I'm trying to tell you we're not Nazis, and Glenn Beck, he's bad. And it was a good video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the fast wave intros.
Yeah. He does do a good job, that's for sure.
Yeah,
I mean this whole. I mean, I'm waiting. I just hit up some people on Twitter. I said, when is Candace Owens, Turning Point USA, all these non-identity politics individuals, these non-identity merchants, going to start taking this no identity politics message and start taking this message to like the inner cities and seeing how receptive that whole. Oh no, we're just my values receptive to these audiences that base themselves on their ethnic identity. I mean, this is getting like, this is peak boomerism, dude. This is peak boomerism.
It is peak, but absolutely peak boomerism.
Yeah, someone in the comments said Candace Owens is a shekel sniffer, and fuck, like this is why we try to out the merchants, because if a merchant gets in a position of power, look, it's like, look, they're doing good things. Everyone says, oh, they're doing good things. It's like, yeah, they do good things until they do fucked up shit. And watch, I guarantee you, once she gets in a position of power, all the people that were against her before, when she was trying to rise up, they're all gonna get fucked. Like, wasn't it Tree of Logic that was outing her, and then another black YouTuber was trying to tell people the truth.
Tree of Logic was against her, and so is in fact Vince made a video about her too. He didn't make his own video about her, but he did comment on her in his video about Joy Villa, another fraud. That's the Scientologist fraud.
Yeah, and that's one of the things, if these people get in positions of power, then they're just gonna. I mean, it's just like a right wing Hillary Clinton. It's no different. It's like, yeah, they may agree with you, maybe if what they're saying is actually true, if they're not lying, if they're not just trying to, I'm just trying to like jump in on this. I don't really care about politics. I'm just saying what people like to hear. Then once they get up there, even if they believe with you on a political matter, they'll have a difference of opinions in an actual like being scum. Like, look, I mean, I like Roger Stone and all of that, but let's be honest. Like, if you've ever watched that Netflix thing done on him, which I haven't heard him say is fake news, it basically said he was a right wing scumbag. Like, he's the one that started all of the whole like super PACs doing shady shit and all of that.
Yeah, he was the guy taking money. He was the his whole the Stone, Black, and something. His whole original pitch fund. Yeah. He was the guy who founded the concept of a super PAC. You give me money, but I don't actually officially give it to a presidential candidate, but I just spend it in his interest. But there's no money exchange from the campaign to us. But we just spend it in his.
The whole super PAC thing. I mean, it's good. To be honest with you, even though the Citizens United case did involve the left as the defendant, and particularly it was about a video regarding Hillary Clinton, and it was a video basically bashing Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton took the guy to court, the person who wrote that critical thing, the thing to court, and they eventually ruled in Citizens United that yes, it was legal, but in the process, I think the left has now co-opted that and used it against us. So we need to. I mean, we need to basically make sure that, and that's really the whole point of how do we prevent that from happening in the future?
Yeah.
It's this. Yeah. And I actually learned that from Crowder, believe it or not, who's and I used to watch him more last year than this year, but yeah.
Yeah, Steven Crowder, he's a fun guy, but at the end of the day, like, it is a little,
Yeah, he's fun. He's fun. He's a funny guy. His not gay Jared dude, his sidekick's funny. But the funny thing about it was with these, like, I like what they did. I like what they do. I don't like, oh, he's too soft. No, it comes in flavors. A Steven Crowder is like an appetizer. You gotta start the little fish, the low hanging fruit. But these guys, you can't expect them to go deeper and deeper. Why these? What is the origin of all this cultural Marxism? Why are these people behaving this way? Who's introducing them to these ideas? They'll treat the symptoms of the cold, but they never actually kind of treat the disease. They try to identify it and try to eliminate it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I dislike about the right so much, is that whenever we get attacked, all they can do is just make a video and say, oh my God, look at this. This is so wrong. And here's a list of reasons why it's wrong. But it's like, that's it. That's the best we can do. Like, we can't like get a bunch of politicians to go do something. We don't have any media people doing anything. We don't have anyone looking into the people doing this. Maybe we can, get their information put out there. Maybe we get some people fired. Maybe we can, get in there, but nothing. It's fucking nothing. And it comes down to these people like that are just
that's what as of course it's because they, and of course I like I said, being subscribed to Sellner's channel, I actually knew a bit. It's called, there's this thing, and he actually mentions the triangle of power, how the metapolitical action on the ground influences the metapolitics, which is the opinion of the majority kind of a thing. And how we need to. He mentions I actually am his uncut. He actually has a series on his English language channel called Uncuck the USA, and it's a great watch.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even Alex Jones, I like how he really brought up that, Glenn Beck is basically controlled opposition. And he said, look where his money's coming from. This guy was being financed by other people since the get-go. And then he was saying that these same kind of...
John, you know who else is funded by controlled opposition just like Glenn Beck is? John
Shapiro?
Cox.
Oh.
Ooh.
That's why he actually donated to he actually was funded when he ran in Illinois. He did take bribes from Soros in the past. So that's another thing. We need to constantly get these things out there.
That's just like that whole Kenny, that whole like government thing, the governor's race. It's such a shit show because like you said, Cox was like a never Trumper, and like you said, where's his money coming from? But then at the same time, the other guy, I forget his name.
Travis Allen.
Yeah, Travis Allen. Also, from what I've heard, he got caught donating like $2,000 to like Gavin Newsom and to go to like DNC events and stuff, and then also like sexual harassment. Well, I don't really agree with the sexual harassment shit, but at the same time, I have close friends of mine that was close to him before he became a thing, and they said that there's a good chance it's true and all of that. But I'm just saying, like, there's just a lot of dirt on these guys, and it's just, I don't know. I personally think let's just accelerate things in California. Let's just let things get really, really bad, and then I'm totally in favor of the whole the 3 different states: the New California, the South, and then the North California. That's what I think.
Yeah.
Whenever it comes to any sort of problem, I think people just going their own way is always the best way to do things. It's like, look, if someone comes to your party and they start a ruckus, the first thing you do in your mind is you say, hey, get the fuck out. Someone's talking shit about your place or something like that. You're like, hey, go to someone else's party. Fuck you. Get out of here, right? That's the first thing that people go to. The first thing is you go do your thing. I go do my thing. That's as natural as it gets. And I think if a group of people say, hey, look, we don't want to be affected by the rest of you guys. You guys want to do that? That's fine by me. But we're going to go do our thing. You go do your thing. We'll shake hands. We'll see who lasts longer kind of thing. And I think that's the best way to go. And I think that's the way the whole country is going to go in the next 50 years. I think everyone is going to start to break up. Everyone is going to start to go their own way, so to speak. And everyone's just going to say, look, I think even in Texas, you might see that. I think in the next 10 years, you might start to see people go, oh, shit, like these aren't all like doctors, engineers, and Trump supporters jumping over the border. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so from there, once they come to that mindset, then it has to come down to, look, we're always going to lose in certain areas, and the only way we can survive is by saying, like, this is our little spot, and we're going to make sure that you can't get into that spot. I think that's the best way of going about things.
They're saying that Ted Cruz is, I think he's running for re-election for Senate. They're saying that his election now is going to be a more tightly contested race now. He's not a shoo-in anymore. That Texas Senate seat is not just a gimme for Republicans anymore. They're gonna have to start really campaigning as a contested seat. So that's actually crazy.
Yeah, part of the reason why is because there's not enough ground. I mean, there's not enough on the right in the USA, especially. That's the whole point of Martin Sellner's Uncut the USA series. There's not enough boots on the ground doing activist work to influence the opinions of people. And that's what we need to, that's what my May 12th event in Huntington Beach David, did you see the video I made of the attempted banner drop?
I have not seen that. I did see you hit everyone, but I saw it, but I didn't click on it yet. Okay,
yeah, it's a very very interesting one for sure. I actually Black Pigeon Speaks retweeted and commented on it.
Ooh,
so
nice.
That's a pretty good video to do that.
Can you summarize
we have
it?
this. It's that video going to that whole in Huntington Beach. And it's actually not tomorrow, but the following Saturday. I actually have, like I said in the previous stream Sunday, I have two speakers who are actually going to speak about losing family members, and one lost a son, the other lost a nephew to drugs that have been trafficked across the border, fentanyl and heroin that have been trafficked illegally into the country by cartels. And so, and the whole point of the event is to say, look, if you want to prevent this, you've got to build a wall, and we're going to make sure that we tie those two together. Hopefully, that's enough meta-political action for people to notice, to put two and two together. And that in the video, I also debunked their whole idea of a lot of the leftist response was, oh, but what about big pharma? Well, for these drugs have been off the market for 20, 30, some cases 50 years. Okay, all the fentanyl currently in circulation, it's illicitly made. It's not made by the manufacturer. It's synthesized by the cartels illegally and trafficked illegally. So that argument doesn't fly anymore. It would if it would fly if fentanyl were still made and still on the market, but it's not. You know?
Yeah, I think a good message to post when it comes to immigration is, and I've seen some people say this before, and that's where I'm kind of getting it from, but it comes down the line of like our border, our choice kinds of things. You know, like you have a door on your house, we want a door on our border. Like just a quick go-to that makes sense like that.
All right. I'm going to mute my mic while I work out. I'll come back in a little bit.
Oh, okay. Awesome. Kenny's going to be doing some deadlifts right now, guys.
Yeah. That's another thing. I gotta get back. Going back to the Temple of Iron.
Yeah, I try to work out on the weekends. I got all the stuff back here that I do. I usually work out 2-3 times a week. I want to do more, but I've just been so busy with things lately.
There's a where I work down the street. There's an actual legitimate professional like powerlifting gym. All the guys that go there, all guys that do like strongman and Olympic lifting competitions. It's not like a Planet Fitness sort of gym. Like this is a place where guys go there for like legitimate reasons that like do competition. And they just opened they just now have 24-hour access. So I said, I'm going to start going there before I go to work.
I would just say make sure you don't hurt yourself, because when it comes to heavy lifting or lifting in general, or just lifting without using the machines, if you just do gravity weights, it can get pretty dangerous. So just like
you can.
Oh, you're back? Okay.
If you drop a weight on yourself, not a good thing, because it could really crush. It could really do damage.
Yeah, I meant form.
Like,
like if you're doing deadlifts and stuff, because a lot of people want to promote doing these high T workouts. Just make sure your form is very well. Like if you have to go and ask other people to watch your form, please do that, because if you get a hernia or you fuck your back up, that's forever. So
absolutely. Like I said, the only thing I do is I actually have a pull-up. I have one of those pull-up bars on my room, my bedroom, and my bathroom right next to each other. So I lock both doors. Then there's a door between my bedroom and my bathroom. That's not on a hallway. So I have a pull-up. I actually put one of those door frame pull-up bars in the frame of that door between my bedroom and my bathroom. So and I use that.
Yeah.
That's probably your best bet if you're just beginning.
Yeah.
You know?
That's true. Yeah. Just do the gravity stuff. Do like the push-ups, do the pull-ups. Like you can't hurt yourself doing just simple stuff like that. It's just when you do like, I caution people to do deadlifts. Like if you do them, just really make sure you know what you're doing, especially if you're going to be using a lot of weight, because that's really how you mess yourself up.
I've done the highest I've done is, of course, I've actually managed to max out the capacity of a calf machine when I was working out at school. Of course, that's no surprise because I bike all over the place to get there and elsewhere. So, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, should we get into the drama of what's happening in the YouTube community? Like, would you want to say a few things on the Bake situation? And I only said Ice Poseidon drama because Ice was letting Baked on his stream, which caused drama. So technically, it's Ice Poseidon drama because it was Ice Poseidon streams. So that is kind of what
Didn't Ice Poseidon's manager pretty much take a big crap on Baked, telling the guy he's scum? I don't want to be around him.
Yeah, you know what's funny is there's three opinions I'm listening to. There's Andy Worski's, obviously scuffed Steve Jobs himself, and then there's also kind of like what like Baked has said. But I'm just gonna listen to the Worski and the scuffed Steve Jobs, and you had two opinions on there. Scuffed Steve Jobs was basically throwing Worski under the bus, saying, "Oh, he's the problem. He's the main bad guy. He was doing drugs at Ice's house, and he was doing all this stuff." And basically, he was saying like, "Oh, they were doing this shit. I wanted them to get out. Like they were weird." And he was
quick question. Define drugs. Are we talking like
cocaine?
Degenerate me like smoking some pot, or are we talking like actual like hard drugs Baked Alaska was doing like on stream? I didn't even know that went down.
Yeah, this is like plastic bag, white powder sort of.
Yeah, so they were doing cocaine.
It was what? I couldn't hear that.
My guess is it could have been. My guess is that if it's a white powder, it's probably either cocaine or something.
I thought you were working out, Kenny.
Yeah.
What?
I thought you were working out.
Well, yeah, I just did. I take a break every couple minutes, do 5 pull-ups, then come back.
I respect that.
And I've done a total of 30 tonight so far. I did 6 sets of 5.
I respect that. You're working out and you're jumping in the chat here.
I'm genuinely confused at why either Ice Poseidon or like regardless of the politics at hand, that why would either of them allow themselves to be recorded on a stream or put themselves out on a stream where they're doing something besides smoking weed or something like that, where they're doing a hard drug in front of plain view.
Oh, they never did the cocaine on stream. So what I'm saying,
they just bragged about.
No, so this was okay. So the drama was Baked, basically with all the fighting going on about them, kind of making fun of Baked for doing meth, and then Baked was the one that threw that information out there, saying that Worski, you did cocaine.
Baked does meth? What?
He's done meth in the past. Wow. And so they were making fun of him for doing that, kind of like, it's just one of those things. Like if I found out that Kenny, that, maybe 5 years ago, you sucked a dick one time and I found out, I would, I'd make fun of you every now and then. It's just kind of one of those guy things, and that's what they did. And he got angry and started airing out personal information saying, "Oh, well, you did cocaine at this place." It was like, personal information that was behind the closed doors stuff that no one knew about. That was new information. And
even though I definitely do not agree with, even though I do not agree with forcing it on people, I'm just as stern as the Ugandan government as far as that's concerned.
Yeah.
Remember Uganda banned oral sex not too long ago?
Yeah. Wait, they banned oral?
Even though I don't agree with banning it, even though I personally don't agree with banning it, I do have a personal inhibition against it.
Yeah.
I mean, how are you going to enforce it is the big thing.
Yeah, we're Ugandans.
Yeah.
We never freeze. Never.
He's just not. But yeah, I mean, it's one of those. It's crazy. I mean, yeah, that's crazy. That Baked is doing. Wait. He was actually doing meth, or was he?
He did it in the past. He got it from some homeless guy apparently, and they did it in his apartment when he was in Vegas. I assume this was back when he was like a BuzzFeed guy, and so they made fun of him. He aired out the information.
Oh,
that
this was when he was a BuzzFeed. Okay, that makes sense.
I don't know, in the past,
Yeah.
not recently. And
Yeah,
they
that was way back in like 2011, 2012-ish.
I don't know the
way
exact
long
date, but
ago.
it wasn't recent. And then basically he aired out information that Worski did cocaine, and then so that's how we found out that, and then he did admit that he did do it, and then they went after Baked, and he said, "Look, dude, if you're this Christian, if your father baked, if you're baptizing people, if you're that Christian now, why do you have a drug dealer on speed dial? That seems a little weird, right? You would cut ties with these people."
No, of course it doesn't. That's completely. I don't. Whenever I come across a drug dealer, I speed away as fast as I can on my bike. I'm like, screw these guys.
I mean, I find it funny because it's like every stoner knows like 5 to 6 weed guys. If you're going after a hard substance like that, everybody stays away from that section of the block. So it's like I find it very hard to believe that Big just happened to have a nice casino night, get some extra cash, and be like, "Hey, Mr. Homeless Man with the crystal meth, let's go do a shindig up in the, the nice hotel room."
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm sorry, but like you guys know I'm from Houston. I've seen that shit quite too many times, and it is faggot confirmed if you got a homeless dude going up to your hotel room in Vegas.
The amount of
obviously,
shit I've seen in California along those lines is absolutely crazy.
Yeah, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say faggot confirmed already with Baked.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, he used to roll with Milo, and then there was that pic of him putting that dildo in his mouth. I mean, I did spend I did spend the night at his house for 3 nights, and he didn't touch me or nothing.
But I mean, that's what you remember. It could have been one of those situations like Bill Cosby. You know, you could just not remember for 20 years.
Yeah, that's true. He could have got me at some point.
Jeez, what
okay,
that guy.
But to keep the story going, so everyone knew that they did drugs because Baked Alaska aired it out, and then Worski admitted it, and then Steve Jobs was saying that look, they were doing hard drugs at Ice Poseidon's house, and I told them to leave, and so the other point of view was Worski was saying, oh well, this guy Steve Jobs was trying to make me get me to be one of his people, and he was trying to he was bragging about how he knew all these billionaires and all these things, and then Steve Jobs was like, oh look, I just told him like I knew people, and then he started getting all crazy with me. So he had like 2 different point of views on that. But the main contention was Ice Poseidon was being used, unfortunately, by Baked, and the blood sports community, they're smart people, they'll go after you, and so they sent Ice Poseidon a bunch of information on Baked, and Ice Poseidon was smart enough to, why would he white knight for this guy that is not going to offer him anything? He knew that too. He's like, look, this guy isn't going to offer me anything, and I'm getting hit with all this negativity. I mean, you weigh the pros and cons. And Ice Poseidon was a smart guy, got rid of him. In the blood sports community, like with Worski, he did give him a lot of chances. He should have got rid of him pretty early on, or at least don't shill for him so hard, because the guy didn't really have a platform. I mean, he had like nothing. His channel had like 10K, and he gave him the blood sports. He let him jump on there and become a competitor. He was stealing subs. He was stealing views. He was stealing super chats. He was actually doing streams the same time as Andy. So he was being a full-on competitor, and he would jump on Andy's streams to actually shill his own show that's competing against Worski.
Wait,
hang on. Let's jump back first. How do you steal a sub, and then is that the same as shilling? On the stream at the same time.
So when I say stealing subs, I mean if that stream wasn't going on at that time, maybe that new viewer that was watching this debate, maybe if Bake wasn't there, they would have jumped and they would have subbed to Worski. But because they saw Bake's channel there doing blood sports, then they subbed to Baked Alaska instead. So in a way, it's not like full blown stealing, but it's like, it's.
I mean, it's
them
close enough. JPEG.
It's them allowing a competitor to come in, and so some people are starting to see Bake stuff instead of seeing Worski stuff. Like if Worski was the only guy doing the blood sports, he would get in like everybody. But and this isn't like Worski allowed all of this to happen. At the end of the day, he did allow it. He did allow Bake to do the blood sports thing. He allowed him to. He gave him contacts of people and all that stuff. But I mean, I'm just saying from Bake's point of view and from outsiders' point of view, who know that he is a parasite, we do know what he's doing. We knew that he stole it. I mean, it wasn't like he asked and all that to make sure he doesn't get hit because he's not that much of a dummy. But yeah, I mean, you have a competitor. They're taking from you. Burger King takes customers from McDonald's, even if it's in like a very small way.
Yeah.
And
it was one of the there was definitely basically Worski did enable Baked as a competitor, but this is, I mean, honestly, going from, and to be honest, I mean, Baked, he is great. He is a great guy once you get to meet him, but there's a lot they did find, but there is a lot of dirt on him at the same. I mean, I'm not sure what's going on now,
All right, since you guys don't like me saying Ice Poseidon, I will change it to Bake Drama, and then we'll see what happens from there. I don't think there's anyone protecting Baked anymore, so I guess I could just do whatever.
Wow,
it's
crazy. I mean, it's crazy going on right now.
He did it to himself, man. He did it to himself.
Yeah, he did.
That's why you never LARP. Never LARP.
You know what's funny too? If he didn't do it to himself, if he stayed true to who he was, he would have the full backing of like the OG Baked Alaska people. He'd have the full backing of like me and all of our friends, like the whole activism movement.
I honestly miss the pre-Charlottesville Baked Alaska. Yeah. Honestly, I really do. He seems to have really gone off the rails. From then until now.
Yeah, and
I miss the Baked Alaska that still had his Twitter account. That was pretty fun.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's true. And you know what's funny? I mean, he actually, before he got banned, he followed me on Twitter. He actually followed me on Twitter a couple weeks before the Laguna Beach event in August of last year that he was supposed to be at, but ended up not going to because of what happened a week prior. I mean, crazy stuff.
Yeah. So for the basic rundown, he's been banned on Twitter. He basically shit posted and tried to, well, not shit post, not like that's a fucking crime, but he definitely doxed or attempted to dox people, from my understanding. Has managed to like basically fuck off every opportunity on the right and left that he was ever given. I mean, he's apparently fucked up BuzzFeed in every opportunity on the right. I mean, that's a new low from anyone.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but I mean, fucking up. Well, I mean, to be honest with you, that's kind of. I mean, that does kind of ring a bell with Johnny Benitez too. Kind of the same thing with fucking up every opportunity. Those two would make good friends. To be honest with you.
Well, I wouldn't say Johnny's messed up opportunities. I would say that he's tried everything in his power to gain opportunities, but he just doesn't get it.
Well, yeah.
But I would say with Baked,
true. Okay, that's a good point.
I would say
good point.
I would say with Baked, though, he gets the opportunities. He gets inside these organizations. He actually makes something of himself, and then he lets his ego get to him, and then he tries to act scummy, and then he gets caught for it, and then he gets shoveled out. So it's like he's able to get inside Ice Poseidon's community. He's able to get inside the blood sports community. He's able to become Milo's manager. He's able to get a job, social media manager in BuzzFeed. He's able to do all these things, but then he does scummy shit once he gets there, and then he gets kicked out, and he starts all over again. So with my thing with him, it's I really do think that he should have stayed as being a manager, because he is really, really good at getting connections and getting in with people. He's very, very good at that. It's just he has to know that
that's kind of in that sense, that is something Baked and I have in common. But yeah, the whole idea of getting a platform has become more and more difficult over a while.
Yeah, it's really too bad. If he had stayed who he was and he just kept doing what he was doing and he got into all of these things, he he would have, like, we all would have supported him, and there would have been nothing going on. But he decided
But
to,
he basically started purity spiraling, letting his ego get the better of him.
yeah, like
Well, let me ask this to everyone who listens to, like, you know, your show and whatnot, and to people like me who want to be inspired to achieve greatness and follow, not, I don't want to say all his footsteps, but definitely follow down a path like Sargon and other people. You know, like, what advice do you have to people like me or others out there who want to do something, but we don't want to become a baked Alaska? We want to become more of, you know, a Sargon or whatever, but we definitely don't want to be the fuck up that everyone talks about.
I would say in your case, in your case, I would say you probably need to do your own show, because you can talk for a long time, and you seem to, like, obviously you took on Dr. Strangelove, and he's a pretty smart guy too. So, and I think that you should probably start a YouTube thing. You know, maybe start I would always say for everyone, start anonymous. Like, don't have your face out there. Definitely don't have your first and last name out there. I got into this movement back before things started getting serious, where people were getting doxxed and things like that. So, like, if I could take back some of it, I probably would. I'd probably make up an alias and all of that. I would say for you, though, I'd say stay anonymous as possible until you feel comfortable. Like, if you think, like, oh, like, I don't think even if I got doxxed, I don't think I'd get fired from my job, because maybe I work for my family, or maybe my boss is very right wing and he'll work with me, or something along those lines.
That's the thing with me. I actually work for my church, and my boss is a right wing gun toting conservative. So that's the thing with me. I mean, in fact, my bosses have been cheering me on with this. But yeah, crazy.
Yeah, the main thing I would say, and from what I've seen, from all the people that have, like, utterly destroyed themselves, it comes down to ego. It really does.
Yeah, it does.
But
what it is it's actually one of the 7 deadly sins. The
Pride before fall, right?
Yeah, and so, I mean, what we need to, and in fact, the whole point is this: and in fact, that's actually going to church, being active like that actually is very important, because if you point it, because the whole idea of, you know, making sure that you stay, because you need to have some sense of moral grounding if you're going to get into this and get a big platform, because that moral grounding is what prevents things like what happened to Baked from happening.
Yeah, I think we also have a baked loyalist in here. I think Brady Oliver, I think, is a baked loyal. He's shouting in all caps now. So I think he's definitely getting triggered that his snake god is now thrown away by every community there is, by Ice Poseidon, by the blood sports, you know, by the LA.
I mean, I'll definitely debate Baked Alaska, but I would definitely ask questions like, how much homeless dick did you suck for that meth?
Mr. Medicare, I don't know if, well, you should probably know Medicare since your nickname, but Mr. Medicare said the same thing. He said, like, I think you actually got raped by this guy. And he was high when he admitted that he did the meth. And he was like, oh, no, you really think so? And it was just, like, such a dumpster fire.
Oh, well, like, God. Okay, first off, like, everyone has their problems and everyone does their thing. But first off, like, not everyone goes to a homeless person. I mean, that is some real desperation. I mean, I've spun in Vegas. It is a very shady, seedy city where you can find literally anything your imagination wants. With that in mind, the fact that he had to seek out a homeless dude specifically for that just sounds like some gay fuckery right off the bat.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna say for sure if he's gay or anything. I never got a gay vibe from him. But
well, I mean,
me neither. I thought when I met him. When I met him at UCI and when I met him at downtown LA for the March for Our Lives counter protest, he seems alpha as fuck.
I mean, there is a gay term called bear. That's that stereotypical biker dude that we all think of. That's like the alpha as fuck. I mean, to put it simply, I've never known. I mean, people can hide all kinds of shit very, very well. We had a pastor
tell me about
at our church who we found out was gay and stole almost $250,000 from the church.
You know what's funny is many people, if Baked is gay and you found out, that would be a surprise to a lot of us. But at the same time, I've had people constantly misjudge me as gay and despite not being so, simply for superficial reasons. That's why with this example of Baked and with my example and with others, it's always important to do research before judging, period.
Oh, I'm a Gnostic. I like judging people. I like being cunt. But I love all of you in chat.
The whole idea of, because basically what's going on here is you have when a lot of people who assume a lot of people who constantly get assumed gay aren't, and some people who aren't assumed gay are. You never know who is and who isn't, and no one knows unless they actually ask and they tell you.
Speaking of that, Brudini, do you want to talk? Because you just posted a stream going on right now. Do you want to give your opinion on that stream?
His mic's muted. Tell him to unmute it.
I mean, he could hear us. That's why I'm asking him if he wants to. If he doesn't want to, he doesn't have to, though. But a certain somebody is going to be doing a drug test right now. So, I mean,
unless they...
Hang on, let me test these drugs.
Oh, right. Okay.
Drugs are tested.
Okay, all right. Rahudini, what do you have to say about that link you posted?
No, I haven't actually watched it yet, but I just wanted to post that because I know you guys were talking about Baked and his drug addicted ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's the biggest thing I have with this is I don't know if anyone's ever experienced this, but I feel like this is the kid at school where no matter how much you bully him, no matter how much you shame him, no matter how much you call him an actual a faggot and it's true, this guy, he just will not leave. It's like, can you just go away? You're a faggot, blah, blah, blah. I'm gonna give you a wedgie. I'm gonna throw you in a trash can. I'm gonna do all this. And he's still asking for more. Like, this guy just never goes away. Like, we all know, this is just awkward at this point. Like, if you get kicked out of every single scene there is, you should just go away for a while.
Well, hang on. He might need to go to what we refer to as the island of the banned rave kids. Where there were literally kids that would walk around with microwave burritos hanging half-eaten out of their pocket, full-blown tard mode. So, I mean, if Baked Alaska can get himself thrown out of there, he'll have done some really incredible fuckery.
Oh, yeah. Tell me about it.
And I mean, I'm not going to say that I'm a degenerate. I obviously smoke weed, but DJing, I see a lot of shit. I've never seen people or been around people while DJing who are iced the hell out. Going ahead and doing something normal. In fact, those people are far from fucking normal because they're resorting to things like that.
Yeah, I would add that, in the case of, and in fact, it was, Baked has to be one of those bears that the gay community refers to because he definitely has a lot. I've definitely has done some crazy things.
Yeah, and it's weird too because I see a pattern. So every single time he gets kicked out of a group, the first thing he does is he falls back on his religion, which is something that probably Alphonse doesn't like because Alphonse is a very religious person. And when he sees Baked do this whole hey, I'm just a Christian and they're going after me and all this stuff, it should be sickening to religious people that this guy is literally using your religion because he's Christian. To deflect.
He just messaged me. And he said. Alphonse just messaged me.
And in fact, and as someone who is not just a Christian, but someone who has actually who's attended apologetics conferences like Rethink, for example. Who actually has reasons to believe for why to believe, and I actually have a couple of videos on that too. It's crazy. I mean. That he's actually using our faith as a prop, just to further his agenda.
Yeah.
Speaking of props, can you move that blue towel on screen? Alfonso says he said that was the one thing that was irritating him, just slightly more than Baked using his religion.
Wait, what was going on?
Well, this is actually
apparently there's a blue towel that needs to get thrown in the hamper behind Nick.
That is a
Jesus, my girlfriend.
What blue towel are you talking about? There's no blue towel in my what
no, they're talking about me.
I'm literally staring at a message right now that says sorry, not Nick. Tell David to put a blue towel that's behind
they're talking
him
about this, Kenny.
In the hamper or closet.
They're talking about this.
Okay, that's talking to David because he's on. This
Wait,
is how can you see the lot? How can you see the comments on? You have to basically pull the stream on another computer, right?
No, he personally messaged me since he's not in the White Elephants anymore. He left because of all the anti-Christian paganism.
Oh, what? David Viner did?
No, Alphonsus.
He's another guy in the Discord.
Okay, that makes sense.
But this right here, this isn't a towel. That's a Trump flag, and I put it there to block the mirror, which is reflecting, and you guys probably wouldn't want to get hit with a reflection. So,
yeah, that would be that would completely distort the video for sure.
You should let that reflection hit, and let's hope Baked logs on. See if he can do a little bit of self-reflection.
Take his eyes out again, huh?
Yeah, I completely agree. Yeah, that would be funny.
Come on, everybody, tag him as quick as you can. Let's get him in the stream. Wow. We'll prepare. Come on, Toro, lift the veil.
Yeah, I could already tell what Ralph Retort's doing. We all know he's watching Bake's thing and he's shitting on him live right now.
Oh wow.
Yeah, he has to be. I mean, it sounds fun to do it, like for us. All right, let's get the video going, and we'll just shit on it the whole time. But I don't know. Maybe I'll react to it like tomorrow or something. Oh, by the way, there's no IRL stream tomorrow. I'm just gonna be super busy these next 2 weeks. So taking a whole day out, which is what IRL streaming does. Unfortunately, I always say, I'm just gonna go out there for maybe 3, maybe 5 hours. That's it. And the next thing you know, I go.
Are you gonna do one Sunday?
Yeah, I'm gonna do these streams.
Are you gonna do one Sunday, David?
The streams we're doing now, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do this the whole week. So these little Discord chats, I'm gonna do it today, obviously, tomorrow, and then Sunday. Oh, Sunday we're actually gonna have a debate. So there.
Oh, really? Who versus who?
So there is this woman named Analytical Chick, and she told me apparently a lot of people in the Discord have problems with her. She told me she was Jewish, so maybe that explains it. And she's gonna be
top fucking cack.
Yeah.
And she's gonna debate who?
She's gonna. I don't know who specifically. I know she threw out
Strangelove. Set her up with Strangelove. For the love of God, set her up with Strangelove.
So I know that she said originally that she wanted to debate Strangelove, but she's also dropped other people's names. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take her in. It's gonna be me and her. It's gonna be private, and then I will pull people in. So I don't want it to be like 10 versus 1.
Got it. Okay, so you're gonna set it up kind of the same way Vince does.
Yeah. So because like Vince or Ralph Retort and those people. So I will pull people over, and then they'll do their battle, and then once it gets boring or people agree to disagree, then I'll pull in the next one. And she said she was totally up for it. She messaged me, so we can see what happens.
Please come in at some point as devil's advocate and argue Holocaust denial? Not that I personally believe it, but just to be literally the devil's advocate.
Just to be that guy. Yeah, you come in. If you don't know who she is, I'd say probably sit back, get a feel for her, and let the people that do know her get in there. Because I've had people message me and they really want to fucking smash her. I don't know why, but they do. So
smashing females is for degenerates.
I'll just say,
I agree with that. I completely agree with that one.
I'll just say I'm gonna have my popcorn ready. I hope everyone else has their popcorn. And for the people that are gonna get in there, have your gloves on, have your mouthpiece in your mouth, and keep your chin down. Is what I'll say.
So don't be like Baked Alaska. Put your gloves on, dildo in your mouth, and prepare for the fight.
That's.
Oh yeah, David, will you be at the OCC event on Tuesday for the Rick Santorum event. Will you be there?
Is that would you say that that's a big event, or would that be like a small little OC thing?
It's Orange Coast Golf. It's huge. They actually they've got like we've actually got about 50. Hold on, let me check the Facebook page. Yeah, you can still hear me, right?
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm all for.
Okay, good. I'm good. I'm gonna check it'll be on. It's the event. It'll be on Tuesday, May 8th. It's 7:00. It's at the Orange Coast College Science Hall. We've got 59 going. Mike Tokes is going to be there. Gracie is going to be there. We've got May 8th. We've got a list of like hundreds of. We've got interested. We've got so many people. It's a big event because we've got it's actually a Pass the Beacon event. The same people who helped get Lawrence Southern to UCI are also involved with this Orange Coast College, which actually the groups.
Oh, you left us, buddy. Hello.
Well,
accidentally,
okay.
I accidentally closed the app. It's a joint event with It's a joint event between with OCC Young Americans for Freedom, and I actually know the guy who runs that, and OCC College Republicans. They're both teaming up to bring Santorum to that event, so that'll be a big event to cover.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds good. People on the right are starting to collectivize. They're starting to network. They're starting to help each other.
Yeah,
sounds like
good.
I'll see. I'll try to go to that. If let's see what. Oh, can you send me that over Twitter since I'm banned on Facebook?
Okay, yeah, I will. I'll send you a screenshot of it.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll see if I can go. I'll try to go because I haven't done any IRL things, and everyone knows me as like the IRL political live streamer guy. So I should try to do what I'm known for, right? So I'll try to do that. It's really difficult. Like the amount of online homework I'm getting hit by Harvard is just completely redonkulous, as some would say. So that's why I'm going to be doing these streams instead of so much IRL stuff. But I might have time on Tuesday. We'll see. I might have to go there after I do my online homework, but we'll see. Let's see what the chat is saying. Can I follow you on Twitter from Sierra? Yeah, you can follow me. Just type in the white elephants.
It's at Real W Elephants is the actual handle.
Yeah, Real W Elephants. That's the actual handle. Yeah, I think it pops up too if you just type in the white elephants. But yeah. But oh crap, man! You guys make me want to just end this stream just so I can watch the drug test. Like, oh god, it's so pathetic. Just go away. Just go. We don't like you. Just go. It's like Harvey Weinstein got caught, and this is like all of a sudden he makes a movie about how like cool he is and how much ass he's getting. You're like, how weird this is. Like this is
basically a slow motion train wreck that like nobody can take their eyes off of.
Yeah, it's
okay, David, I just sent you a screenshot of the Facebook event page.
All right, thank you so much, Kenny. But yeah, it's kind of like, look, whether you're guilty or innocent or whatever, Bill Cosby, just go away. Please don't make a movie or anything. Just trying to get in the spotlight. You know what I mean? Like some people, we just want you to go away. Just.
Well, I mean, it makes me really wonder how many pudding pops I ate as a child.
The pudding.
And the zipper is that little there pudding pop. I'm gonna go ahead and write my peoples.
Yeah, what he said. Let's see. I defended Baked against the Bloodsporters because it was the moral thing to do, but they were right. Yep, the Bloodsporters are always right, guys.
Out of curiosity, would you ever have Baked on here? Just like maybe not in our fucking group for fuck's sake, but definitely like call in, a number to a live stream or something and have him in a chat debate people who are here, and see if we can actually give him a good moral thrashing.
Oh, I would love that. I've even thought about going to events that I know for sure he's going to be at just so I can confront him. Like I went on the Kumite just so I could confront him, but he didn't want to talk to me. He literally said, if you let me speak, that he was going to bounce. So I got kicked off by the Kumite, and then they let me back on later because they were like, hey, look, we didn't mean to just say fuck you, get out of here, but they basically said.
I mean, to be fair, he doesn't he doesn't know my like I've changed my moniker so many times.
Yeah.
That he really does not know who I am outside of my voice, and I mean I can change my voice without a voice mod pretty easily, so I'm quite content that he won't figure this shit out. I want us to get somehow like the white elephants directly involved in a way to basically like just, skull fuck them for everyone and then have it be on this stream.
Yeah, there's a lot. I feel like in some ways my server just has all of the people that have been shit on by him and his, because there's so many people that have their own story as to what happened to them in his Discord or what he did to them specifically, or everyone has their own story. So I feel like if I can get him in here, I would love to do a one-on-one, just me and him. Or I don't know, maybe we could pull a train on him, and like all of you guys could take a turn, fucking him up.
Well, that
like,
that sounds a little gay there, buddy. You got to add no homo. We've discussed this whole week in fucking chat, man. You got to add no homo, or it's actually gay. Come on.
The Trump train is not gay.
You know what? I think Bake is really not that intelligent on any of these subjects, because when I've seen him in IRL streams going to those political IRLs, when somebody challenges him on some debates, he would always try to yell over them, or he would turn to somebody else and get that person to answer, the debate rather than him. He does not know what he's saying. He just repeats everything else that he's heard from other alt-writers.
Yeah, I mean that's perfectly fine. I mean, I may have to take take David's advice here and flat out just do my own radio show kind of thing, and invite his ass on, and then invite David on as a other surprise guest or something.
I think so. I think everyone in the Discord knows what you're talking about. You could talk at length. I think you just need to decide what platform you want to go to and choose how you want to present yourself. But I definitely think you have the ability. Like, if I didn't know better, if you came in and people were like, "Oh, this guy's big on YouTube. He's got 100,000 subs or whatever," I wouldn't question it. I mean, it would make sense to me.
I've got a total of 4 subscribers, all of which are alternative accounts of mine and one of my mom. Yeah, swag, boy, swag.
Well,
I got those numbers.
You could shout out right now, and maybe we can bump that up to I don't know, just some random number like 14 or maybe like 88 subs or whatever.
You know what? If I can get 4, how about this? I will make an account tonight, and I will link it in. That way you can link it in later to the YouTube if people want, and that will be specifically for this. I'll go under the moniker named Bane, and I will wear a Bane mask, and I will argue every point from his perspective. Can we kill the Batman? No, then your point is irrelevant.
I think if you do that on a live stream, and you could tell the entire Discord, tell us a day and a time, and we'll all be there to watch.
I'll tell you what. Because I smoke pot, I think Kermit the Slob is better. But I don't know how quickly I'm going to get ass fucked by Jim Henson. He does like sticking things up Muppets' asses, so. Not too sure how their lawyers are going to be.
Oh, man. Well. The heck? Oh, Sierra couldn't find me on Twitter. There's too many like it. As Kenny said, it is real W with the capital W, elephants. Or elephants. I forget which one. If you want to find it, I'm sure you'll find it at some point. Let's see. Is that all the topics? Oh, I threw up some rando. I throw up a lot of randos all the time. What do you guys think about the concept of gay aliens? Do you think if aliens exist that there's some gay ones?
I think if I think if sparkly glitter things exist and people want to use the excuse of dolphins as being as intelligent as humans, or octopus, which people have tried to cite as, being gay lovers, I think aliens would escape that fucking level of boredom. And I think that it really has to come from a style of population boredom. And I doubt if we were exploring the stars, we would want to do anything biologically speaking other than reproduce. So I highly doubt it. And if there are, the species isn't going to be surviving very long now, is it?
Yeah, I think I feel like with us, we're basically turning into like robots. AI is taking control of things. You're starting to see like robot butlers. You're starting to see robot cops in like Indonesia. We're starting to see more and more robotics. And I think
how can a third world country afford fucking robot police and shit, and we can't even get a goddamn Amazon package to land at our fucking house? What is this bullshit?
I don't know, priorities, I guess. But yeah, I mean, I really do think, I don't know what's going to happen, but I think at some point, kind of like what Elon Musk was kind of saying about the whole, like, we got to be careful about AI. But if you can get one of these AIs inside like a robotic body, which I've seen videos of robots actually jumping, like being able to move better than some humans. You put like that AI, which was Elon Musk made an AI that within like a few days was able to program itself to be able to beat top esport gamers in like League of Legends in these games. It was able to destroy them. Like the top players couldn't even like compete against it. So if you put that mindset into a robotic body that is probably superior to humans, that equals like us being dead. I mean, imagine like if you guys have ever played Counter-Strike, if you have like
that Matrix, that's the real life Matrix, man.
Yeah.
That's every bad scene of like minus the human harvesting, because they won't need us for fucking energy.
Yeah, just imagine though, like in Counter-Strike, they have aimbot. So like a robot, like if it had a gun, it would just be able to shoot everyone at, like, it wouldn't miss. It would just boom right through your head. Like you'd be gone. Like I don't see any way that we could stop those other than maybe like EMPs. But robots are so smart, and they could scour the internet as to like their strengths and weaknesses, that they could probably make something to protect themselves from that. So I think no matter what happens demographics wise, I think at the end of the day, the robot race will be the one to reign supreme.
What's that line from iRobot where Will Smith's like looking down at his sneakers for the first time again after chasing somebody? I think he's like when the hell were the days where like man just killed man? Now it's robot killing man.
Yeah, wouldn't that be something, right? Let's say the alt-right's 100% right, the demographics get crazy, everyone gets tribalist, and we're all fighting and killing each other, and we stop and we look, and there's like a robot race running over, and they start just stomping us and, ripping us apart, and we have to team up together to fight against the robots, Wouldn't that be a movie?
I mean, I am not a fan of that future, but I mean, I'm a clever enough bastard to figure out a way to survive in it. But that is not something I want. I think it's scary though. Some of the things that we're giving things access to. Some of the technology, some of the and I mean, I don't want to sound like a conspiracy theorist at all, but some of the stuff that our parents thought were going to be bullshit ideas their entire life. I'd like for you to Google it, but I believe they teleported a like a particle or like an atom or something like that for the first time. Did a successful teleportation sometime in this year, and it was between LA and Tokyo. So feel free to type and fact check me on that. But moreover, my main point is usually I point to cell phones, the communicator. Right now I'm using mine to talk with somebody internationally and wirelessly. At the time Star Trek came out, that was kind of like mind-blowing. You can buy a cell phone cover on eBay for under $100 that uses, that charges on its own, that can be used to become a taser, a 50,000 volt taser. So it's like that right there's your stun gun, from those same things. They have guns now that can fold up and be smaller than a briefcase and carry 50 and 100 round mags. And they're just the really beautiful fucking high end shit, but it's like this is shit that can easily be put on robotics, shit that 20 years ago was looked at as crazy. If you want to look even further, movies in the 80s like They Live, there's a really classic scene where the main character in the film, I can't remember his name to save my life right now, but I remember him looking up and seeing looking up at a drone that was armed, and he pulls out a shotgun and shoots it out the air. Small things like that are definitely feasible and capable today. That was stuff that was considered, edgy science fiction in our parents' years. Stuff like Terminator having a robot that can literally have a mostly top half humanoid shape and walk upright. I mean, the battery system and the power system they definitely don't have yet, but God only fucking knows with how much time people are spending money on them. We have batteries that you can literally pee on to charge. So there's no telling what other ways they're going to figure out how to power stuff. With that in mind, yeah, a lot of these dystopian futures do become significantly more realistic, I think, than what our parents, or even in some cases, the people who made these films even thought. And I don't think that every time it should be looked at as an act of science fiction. I think we should also take the lessons that are meant to be in those movies and consider the consequences. I'm definitely not saying build fucking policy around, science fiction, but I think that there are some aspects to things, some aspects to control that no man, woman, or child in this country wants to have endowed upon them by an outside force, whether living or non-living.
Yeah, I see in the chat, So says, but can we 3D print dildos for baked?
Actually, we can. You're only allowed to 3D print them if they're 18 inches or larger by law.
That's how he likes them, I hear, especially black for some reason.
Actually, I heard rainbow was his favorite, but I could be wrong there. Cool. I heard if you throw glitter and rainbow on it, he will love it. I also heard for some reason, it doesn't make sense, but if you flavor the dildo like cock, and I've never tasted it, but Baked has said on stream, supposedly, that if you can get him, he said he loved cock too. Yeah, and we already know that. But if he said something like, you told him there's 100 dicks on a wall, which one would you choke on first? He'd tell you he doesn't choke on any of them because he's a professional.
Oh man. Balbo, do you have anything to say on that point? You haven't talked in a while. If you're even here. Okay.
No, he left a little while ago.
Oh, it says he's in here though. Oh, is he talking?
Are you talking about Rudini?
Oh, I was talking to Balboa in here. It shows him in the chat. Or maybe I should refresh my app. Maybe. Here, I'll refresh it just to be sure. Ah, dang.
In chat.
Okay, there we go.
He's here, but he's not saying anything.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. All right. Well,
I bet if you play the Pirates of the Caribbean tune, he'll come out.
So we've talked about all the topics that I wanted to talk about. Is there anything, any current stuff that you guys might want to bring up at all? That goes for the chat and for the Discord people.
Has anybody tried to bring up the what's your opinion on Emma Watson and basically, I think it was Emma Watson and the whole Israel conflict where she made some comments.
What, saying like pro-Palestine or something like that?
I don't know exactly what it was. All I know is there was some ass hurt involved, and Israel tried to, I think, revoke her dual citizenship or something.
Oh, so is she Jewish?
No, that was Natalie Portman.
Yeah, okay, somebody knows. That's why I was like, I don't know, I'm stupid.
So Natalie Portman is Jewish?
Natalie Portman, that's who it was. Natalie Portman was in, like, I guess Israel's trying to revoke her dual citizenship for some comments she made. So I don't know if you know about that.
That means she's actually Israeli then, right?
I believe so. Wouldn't you have to be to get a dual citizenship in an ethno state?
Wow, that's interesting. Okay, well, people talk about the Jews controlling Hollywood, and Natalie Portman's Jewish. I never knew that. I'm not very good at spotting Jewish people to begin with, but it's interesting.
I mean, plastic surgery is amazing these days. They can take a fat woman and make her look skinny.
Well, I mean, if you look at the girl from Wonder Woman, and she's Israeli for sure, and she doesn't have any of the typical qualities, I feel like the Jews in Israel and the Jews, like at least Ashkenazi ones, or the typical ones that you would, giant, big nose, kind of small, feeble looking bodies, curly hair kinds of things. They don't look the same. Like if you look at Netanyahu, if you look at his pictures, he looks fundamentally a lot different than the stereotypical Jew.
Well, I mean, I spotted Ethan and Gila on their Jewishness, mainly because of Ethan's fupa. Nothing to his nose is fine. It was his fupa that gave it away.
Yeah, it's just kind of different.
Fucking Papa bless.
What the? Rooster says a fat girl that looks skinny. Yeah, so if anyone has any questions, I mean, we just hit the 2-hour mark. Usually I like to go 3 hours, but we didn't get that many people in the chat today. It was kind of nice and, just conversations. There was no heated debates. There was no Doctor Strangelove stuff. There was no nothing crazy happened today. We just talked about what we're supposed to talk about. Very professional, very to the point. If you guys haven't, to the mods, if you guys can drop the link to the Discord for any of the people that haven't joined. If you haven't joined and you want to come on here, you have to join. It's part of the process. So you have to join the Discord if you want to jump on here and talk with all of us or appear on the stream. If you're comfortable with just doing the commenting, that's totally fine. But if you want to come on, and some of you guys seem to be opinionated, you guys can jump right on.
Out of curiosity, I'm allowed to crack jokes at all races, right? Because that's not considered just anti-Semitic. That's just considered equaling the playing field against everyone.
Yeah, I mean, you could joke, you can criticize. I don't think anyone actually likes like outward, just straight up derogatory hate. But at the same time, I don't see that really anywhere either. So, yeah, but you can question, you can criticize, you can make jokes, all that stuff. And that's what people do. That's what people do in real life. I grew up in a very multicultural society, and because there's so many differences in people, everyone used to joke. Like if you're with the Asians, they would joke about the blacks and vice versa, and stereotypes were just common jokes. It was like, oh well, like if you're with your black friends and I was on the football team, you'd be what do you want to get after this? Oh, you want to go grab some watermelons, purple drink? And it's just kind of a joke. Ha ha ha, whatever. Like fuck you. I bet you're gonna go to Whole Foods, you fucking cracker, whatever. I mean, it was just very normal. So when I got on the political scene and people are getting all like, oh my God, I can't talk about race and all this, why? Like, I don't know. It just seems like, the main people spurging out tend to be the Europeans or the Jewish people are the ones spurging out. Everyone else, like on a very like IRL level, tends to be it's normal. It's just whatever. That's why the whole concept of talking about race realism just seems kind of weird to me, because everyone knows that race is real. Like it's not some fucking social construct. It's actually biological. Like everyone knows this. Everyone agrees with this. This isn't like something crazy. And then
okay, let's talk about something crazy like feminism. Like if we're going to talk about like some interesting, I wouldn't call it race realism, but I think it's an interesting note that there's a bunch of, old, it seems leftists, middle-aged women who have nothing to do with their life other than learn how to knit pink pussy hats, and hand them out. And I can't tell if that's because these women didn't get jobs and aren't happy that feminism gave them a family, or maybe didn't give them a family. But obviously there is a lot of free time on these women's hands. And it kind of like makes me wonder, like, what drove them there, and like why the hell it's become so man-hating when they probably got a man at home who's paying for all their shit.
Yeah, my main thing was I just kind of went with the culture for the most part, and I was like, oh yeah, as long as everyone's treated equal, like whatever, that's kind of how it should be. But I've been taking more along the stance of lately that our ancestors lived in a very difficult world, and like very, very difficult. So when people are talking to me about depression and shit, and then you look in the past on how like everyone was fucking starving and you could be killed and raped, there was no police, anything could happen to you at any time. It just kind of infuriates me. But I think our ancestors had certain rules in society. Like, look, no one liked slavery. But at the end of the day, do you want to go work on the field all day? Or are you going to get some other guy to do it that would have been killed otherwise? Because slaves were they were the spoils of war, right? And technically, Kanye was talking about, is slavery a choice? It is a choice. And it's a choice in the way that you can always bite your tongue off. You can always choose suicide over anything else. It's kind of a Stoic's point of view. But in a way, when the people defeat you in a war and they stick the guns at you and they say, look, either you're going to be enslaved or you're going to get killed. They said, all right, I'll be enslaved. Like they want to live.
I say kill me. My body when I'm dead, but kill me now.
Yeah, I mean, everything is a choice. I mean, you could always choose to not exist anymore. You chose to do your work, so you exist. That's kind of thing. I should probably add that on the title for the video. Probably, is slavery a choice? I feel like that's a very popular thing right now.
I think you could even quote Nathan Hale, on that whole like I have but one life, live for my country. And if I remember correctly, he kicked the stool from underneath himself so the British couldn't get couldn't hang him. He hung himself, as a last kind of, fuck you to the British Army. Yeah,
totally. But I really do think, though, that they had societies worked in a certain way for a reason. And look, I would say coming from, I believe in evolution, I would say coming from that, men were hunters. We had gender roles. Men were hunters, women were gatherers. Coming from that, and not only that, but like men are obviously, physically stronger and faster, and we have faster reaction times and things like that. That's why we would go out into the dangerous lands, because we have a higher chance of surviving. Whereas the women have a lower chance because they're, physically they're less capable. And not only that, but other humans, other men specifically, would probably want to, rape them, things like that. So you'd want to keep your most precious things, kind of like in the way of treasure. You want to keep it somewhere, safe, hidden away, like stay in the house, basically, right? Because we don't want you to get sexually assaulted or raped or those things. So
that sounds like how Islam explains the hijab. Like, we must hide them. We must hide them quickly. Yeah.
It's just my thing is like, look, men and women are different. Should they be treated the same on a legal basis? Yeah, I think they should be treated the same. If someone rapes a guy or rapes a woman, I think obviously it should be treated the same. Rapes a woman.
Whammons, only whammons.
But I think when it comes to like if you tell someone like you're a guy, you should live your life this way according to data and science, and not only that, but nature. And naturally, men have been acting this way forever. Now, does that go for every single man? No, it doesn't. But I would much rather tell people live the life that your gender and your ancestors live this way. If you want to go outside that, go ahead. But until then, I'm going to keep you on the natural path. Like, I want you to lead a natural life, not an unnatural life. I don't want men, behaving like women. I don't want them living unnatural lives. Like even what we're doing right now is pretty goddamn unnatural. Sitting here looking at a box, sitting down. Like our ancestors were always running around, moving, trying to find food constantly. They were always in a starvation mode. They were burning calories.
Everyone knows I smoke pot, man. I am always looking for food, my dude.
Yeah, they were always very active, and that's why they weren't getting depressed, because they were, when you work out and things like that, you have endorphins, you have these things that make you feel good. You can get the runner's high, right? You get all these things, and so our ancestors were always burning calories, always feeling good. And then when they caught something, they caught it together as a team, and then they used to have a feast together with all of them. They would socialize about, the kill and these things, and not only that, but look, I agree that killing animals and all of that. Look, I get it. I'm not, it's a terrible thing, right? But at the end of the day, when you're hungry and you're emotional and you kill and you're very emotional and you kill something, you're not thinking like you are when you're just sitting here and you're not hungry and you're in this perfect mindset. That's not how you are when you're actually starving. So when you try to sit here and you try to say, oh, how we should behave if we were in this situation, that's never it's never going to be that way in that situation. I find those conversations to be pretty idiotic. It's like, oh, well, if seeing as how I'm in this perfect mindset, in this perfect environment, what would I do in this terrible situation? Oh, I would do this. But if you're actually in the situation, you wouldn't do that because you're emotional, you're in a crazy environment. It's, and I think that's why people say, oh, well, it's all terrible. Like, but it's like, yeah, I get it. But you're not hungry right now. If you were fucking hungry and you can see your bones, like, you wouldn't be saying that.
Well, do you think that okay, I guess here's a better question. Do you think if we had somebody, and I know I'm jumping topics here, do you think if we had somebody who ran as an actual nationalist, not like a white nationalist, not like anything more, just, let's say, an old patriot, war decorated, said, hey, fuck everyone else, we're taking care of ourselves, I don't give a shit about being politically correct, literally fuck everyone that is not here right now, we are building a wall and we're going to encompass everything today. What do you think, like, the reaction, having seen what happened with Trump and looking at the past, couple elections, including Obama and Bush? What do you think the trend is going to be if we have somebody run like that? And obviously not a David Duke type, but somebody definitely not a dickhead.
Oh, so like if a nationalist ran for president?
Yes, sir.
Would you want to say, like, let's say Fuentes ran for president?
I haven't paid much attention to Fuentes, so unfortunately, I cannot really give a valid input on that.
Okay, so I mean, it comes down to what your definition of nationalist is, because I guess the old school way of saying it is a race like basically a nation. When you would think of Britain, you think of white Europeans, right? When you think of Africa,
and bad teeth.
Right. So basically race is tied to nation. And so that's what I've been hearing lately. So when you say you're a nationalist, you are saying that you are basically for the people that founded the nation, that being Europeans. And if someone ran doing that, obviously in a, rapidly demographic changing country, you would have to kind of cuck on that and probably take the typical patriot thing. You'd probably have to say, oh, well, I want to run, I'm pro-America, but America, is, everyone bleeds red, white, and blue. Like if you ran as like an alt-right nationalist type person, I according to what I've heard about the demographics changing and what I've seen in Texas on how, like, basically all the Mexicans are just voting for Mexicans. They're not really voting for they're voting based off race, and that's what happens too. People do vote based off race. They vote based off party, and they vote based off race, and then they vote based off, like, last name and things like that. And that's what people do. I mean, people could talk about racism, this and that, but I've seen a lot of people where they vote for their own kind. I had an Asian friend of mine who was calling Trump a racist, and I said, okay, well, are you going to vote for? It was like in the local election. Are you going to vote for this guy or this guy? And a Democrat was an Asian and the Republican was a white guy. And he said, and he asked about the race, and I said, oh, well, the Democrat's an Asian guy. He said, "Oh, okay, I'd vote for him then." And I said, "Why would you like? Why do you care about that? Like, don't you think that's kind of racist that you would support the Asian guy over the white guy without even knowing their policies? Like, all you care about is one is Asian." And he got kind of hit by that a little bit, but I don't know. I think the further the demographics get, I really do think, because people they think in the collective. I even talked to an Indian guy the other day, and he was actually admitting that he was a psychology major, and he said, "Yeah, I like America because in America, it's a very individualistic society, so I can be whoever I want to be. I don't have to be part of my group." And he admitted that yes, in most every other place in the world, all of these people are collectives. He even said that his people are very collectivist, so you can't say anything outside of the group, otherwise there'll be consequences, obviously. And yeah, so I just think when we start bringing in all these other tribes, they come in, then they start to take segments of places, they start to take over, and we're going to see a lot of tribal warfare. So I don't think a nationalist could ever become president at that point. I would think it's going to come down. The people that will become president are the people that are going to offer the most gives. I think it's going to come down to free stuff. If you look at what Dinesh D'Souza said on how like the blacks turned to the Democratic Party, so they joined the party of the KKK just so that they can get free stuff. I mean, if they're willing to do that, there's no way the Republican Party will ever get them back. Even if you get Kanye to put on whatever hat you want. I don't think they'll ever get them back. I think
we can convince them with enough fire emojis, sir, and a hot fire mixtape as well. We got them sold.
I think what's going to happen is we're going to see the Republican Party start to see, and people on the right in general are going to start to see that their numbers and things like that are going to dwindle. Maybe in like 10 years, I don't think anytime soon. And they're going to start to see it dwindle at some point, and then they're going to go, oh, well, we have our ups and downs, and then they're going to only see more and more downs. And it's going to be very unfortunate, but I think what they're going to have to do, and you're going to see this, you're seeing it in California right now. People are leaving California in droves, and they say it's because of the taxes, and I agree. It's people move based off resources, right? If you live in a little village and then your water supply runs out, you're going to go find another village, right? It's so. I agree it is economics, but I do think it's also there's demographics. Like when someone says I live in a bad area. Who lives in a bad area? Like, what is a bad area exactly? And I do think we're going to start to slowly see people push into other areas. And then at some point, we're going to look around and we're going to say, hey, that over there, that's Little Tokyo. That over there is New Mexico. That over there is Africa. And that over there is, America, basically. And I think we're going to see that, and
I mean, you already do in the wards. I mean, I think I've talked about the 5th and 3rd ward in Houston. There's an area off of Timberglen that's literally referred to as Little Mexico and Little Africa, and there is one street at Timberglen, and follow it long enough, you'll tell exactly where one ends and one begins.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the answer. It's separation. That's why we need to very much push for states' rights, which is something that I'm for to begin with. But I think we need to have more states' rights to the point where, like, let's say for marijuana, for example, even if marijuana is legal somewhere, obviously the feds can still kick the place's door down and steal all the shit. I don't think they should be allowed to do that. I think if a state allows something, it should. I want the state's rights to be more powerful, and that will give people, if they want to move to certain areas, basically if there ends up being like a white ethno state, then they can just do whatever they want. If they say, hey, we don't want anyone here, this is our space, just leave us alone, you guys can do whatever you want. I think that's what's going to happen. I think that's what happened to Rome. I think when Rome fell, it turned into just a bunch of a bunch of little kingdoms, right? All the dukes, that were there became kings. And I think when things start to break down and people start to find out that like basically the United States is going to turn into a one-party system, I think people are going to start to separate. They're going to start to move to places where People agree with their values. You know, people are doing it now. Like low key, people are moving to like Arizona. They're moving to Texas. They're getting out of California. Things are going to get bad. But I think, like, obviously, if if the left is in control, one party system in control of the whole United States, it's all going to turn into California. It's all going to turn into a shithole. You know, there's going to be.
Well, I mean, what they did with Detroit, which was supposed to be the Democratic idealist city. And we see what they've done to places like Chicago, and we see what they've done to places like Baltimore, and we've seen what they've done to places like Atlanta. And, you know, it's going really, really fucking well for them if they consider living in what is damn near, in the case of Detroit, a third world country. And in some cases, some third world countries have it better than some of the people in Detroit, which is a fucking shame in this country.
Yeah, I mean, you just look at all these blue areas and they're all just shitholes and people are just running around killing each other. And when the wealth gap is massive, you see like the Silicon Valleys, right? You can see the very, very, very rich, and you have the very, very, very poor. There's like not much of a middle class. That's really the difference is in the red areas is more of a middle class, whereas in the blue ones, it might as well be a third world country. It has the same policies, right? It has the same policies, same looking kind of people, so you're going to get the same outcomes. I mean, it's not a hard thing to grasp. Also,
well, I would love to see where, like, you know, some of these leftists get their rape epidemic numbers, like, quote unquote, on college campus, you know, for their definition of 1 in 5 rapes happen, which we all know the term they used is bullshit. That's been debunked on our side. Ben Shapiro did a good job of that. What was it? Sargon did an even better in-depth job. I think he's got like almost 2 hours, 3 hours of videos on specifically that. Look at what these people do to their own citizens. Look at what they do to remove rights and freedoms. Look at the fact that like every policy put in place hurts people, hurts their own people that they're supposed to be for. It is scary. Like, it is really scary to think that people like me, who are now on this side, used to fully back that ideology. Right? It's just fucking mind-numbing.
Yeah, well, I think it comes down to, you know, we're good people, and we're like, yeah, everyone should be treated the same, men, women, you know, people of different color, whatever. Everyone should be treated the same. We could all, you know, support these values. These values are good for these reasons, and, you know, let's go forward. But then we saw how people, you know, it comes down to individualism, and we found out that a lot of people don't think that way. They think very much in collectives, and they group up. And, you know, I saw with the whole Kanye thing, for instance, like all these like 3 black guys went on to like a Fox 26 channel or something, seemed like a local channel, and they were all calling him like he's a coon, he doesn't respect his people or his history or his identity, he's going against it. And it comes down to what's right equals what benefits us, and what is wrong equals what doesn't benefit us. So you see like all these great philosophers in Greece, and they were talking about what is virtue. Like, you know, that was their main thing they focused on, is like what is right and what is wrong, and you know, absolute truths. But you see in collectives, all they care about is like what benefits us is a good thing, and what goes against us is a bad thing. So you could be asking for anything. Like, you could even be supporting like the Asian communities, but if that somehow disaffects the black community, then they're going to be mad about it. And so now I think we're waking up to groups of people think in that kind of mindset, and when they think in that kind of mindset, it's only going to lead to wars, right? And we spent, like, obviously hundreds of years trying to convince different groups just to, hey, you're an individual, just think that way, you know, don't think in this whole like, you know, this equals what I am kind of thing. But it's very difficult to get them out of that mindset, because their identity is ascribed to it. Not only that, but they bully each other, you know, they enslave each other to a certain degree. Like, you have to believe this. And I don't think that's, you know, you could say there's a biological nature there. I've heard some arguments on that. I think
I would use somebody in the black community who's been quoted against kind of stuff like that. Kevin Gates he's a rapper. He makes a lot of trap music, and I found out about him because I make a bunch of beats and whatnot, and I found out about him because of his stance on Black Lives Matter. And he's, he had a very good quote on, dudes will lay up under another dude's car and just spray each other with, big old, drum clips and, or they'll spray another car down just to get the one dude inside. If their friend runs off, they'll take time to get pissed off if one of their friends kills them quick because they all want to get their hits in. And and having lived through a lot of like stuff like that, and lived in some of those areas, that's real as hell. And it doesn't matter who you are, people shouldn't have to undergo that environment. But the fact that happens specifically in those communities, because I'm in North Texas right now and I'm not in Houston anymore, and I'm sitting in a really nice neighborhood, not going to dox anything like that, but I'm in a pretty nice neighborhood. I've not had to worry about one motherfucking drive-by. I've not had to worry about one gun going off. I've not had to worry about riding my bicycle down and somebody trying to stab me. I leave my Bowie knife and anything else that I need at home. I don't have to worry about that shit. And that's I'm in a predominantly white area. There's definitely a difference.
And I see Mel Gibson joined us. Do you have anything to say, Mel Gibson?
Hey, how you guys doing?
Doing well.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you. Or at least I can.
Oh, good. Well, interesting enough, a neighbor just came up to me and was talking to me, so I didn't hear what you were talking about until the last thing I heard was the housing market. And I believe you were talking about prices and things of that nature, but that's all I got. So,
I was basically shitting on California for being a shithole, and I was naming some of the reasons.
Oh, here, I'll tell you this. Yeah, thank you. I'll tell you this right now. I'm a little older. I'm 36, and
You're not a boomer.
I make decent money, and I am nowhere near buying a home. And I think, literally homes that were $300,000 maybe 5 or 10 years ago are now $750,000, and your mortgage will be $6,500. It's unbelievable what's going on here.
Well, what do you think really caused people to get so much power to inflate and in some cases deflate the dollar like that, specifically in markets like California, not necessarily nationwide, how it's pocketed?
Sure. So I believe China and the billionaires of China really started buying up the market in 2008, 2009. And interesting enough, probably about 2012, if you remember, China started going through its own recession. They were talking about that a little bit. And there was pictures that came out of these cities called ghost cities. And they were basically brand new cities built in China that looked just like Manhattan, high-rise buildings, and no one there. Not one person there. So the Chinese, because the billionaires were buying all the land, pretty much focusing on America. And then the government there has the power to say, hey, it's illegal now for you guys to buy over there. You guys are going to have to start buying up over here. So really what happened is just outside investors who don't really live in these homes raise the market. And that's it. They haven't sold them.
So, so people from China could go squat over in those areas, and there's pretty much nothing that could be done about it.
They raised the market, the supply and the demand, really. I mean, they were buying so much. I mean, people couldn't buy homes because they would come in and just give offer and give cash deals. So, yeah, to the point where they're in China, they had brand new cities built and no one was buying there. That's how much focus there was in America and California specifically.
I mean, but my point is, like, somebody could literally go over there, like, and squat in any of those places, and they're probably fully furnished or freshly built, and nothing is getting touched in there,
Well,
everything's empty.
Yeah, not to be negative, but what typically they probably do is they probably send over some female that's recently married and pregnant, and they want to make sure they probably have their kid over here. So they're probably the housing's taken, but they're just taking advantage of the two passport policy we have here.
That's nuts.
Yeah, I actually read some articles on that due to the market in China, that people like they own houses, but no one actually lives in them because it's like they're not really houses or something. Like basically, the market could like flip or something. Like when it comes to economics, I get kind of twisted around sometimes. But it was something to the point where, like you said, there's ghost towns, and because they're communists, they have to always be having the workers do things. But it's gotten to the point where now they're just building things for like no reason, just to keep their workers active.
That I mean, I believe they thought that their economy would continue to thrive just by real estate, but unfortunately, they didn't really do the math and see that their billionaires were buying over here. So that's what happened to them, and they fixed that. They outlawed it.
I mean,
so they're rebounding.
Yeah, if they have ghost towns, it sounds to me, with the migrant crisis going on, maybe those migrants would love to live in those ghost towns, right?
I wish it was that simple, but I think I'm not too familiar with it. But last I've heard, I think China doesn't put up with migrants, or that's Japan.
I think it's Japan both, because China. Last I saw a Vice article on, and I know they're terrible to quote, but I think they did an article on how you can make $50,000 a year just for being white in China, and I will happily take that.
There you go. Hey, there's some privilege finally.
Wait, you said 50,000?
Yeah, I saw there was a video on YouTube Vice put out. But yeah, basically it's like you will make $50,000 a year for doing like the shit job of like combing your hair back, having a nice haircut, and doing anything from sitting down. Like I know DJing, I got offered an obscene amount of money by a specific company that I'm not even going to get into. To the point where I didn't take it because I thought it was bullshit and I was just going to get kidnapped and held ransom money. So yeah, I really wish. Oh, I no. Back then there wasn't
getting kidnapped.
There wasn't really mobile live streaming.
Yeah.
Hey, I'll tell you what though. You brought up Vice. I think they did some fantastic work with Cuck Spartan. Jeez, man, wow, that guy. You guys see that one?
I have not.
Oh, to be honest with you, I heard of it and I was like, "Oh fuck, are you serious?" And like, I didn't, because I was like, "God, like this is like the worst guy to get like, like obviously, like I don't want to be on Vice because we know who they are, but for this guy who's terrible optics, like he's gone after so many of us, calling us disgusting things. He's like, oh my god, like the things he said to me." And my girlfriend.
He got put on there because he admitted to working with the Fed.
Wait, he admitted to working with feds?
Correct, the federal government, and the federal government was concerned with lone wolf within the MAGA movement in California. And what I think is that they were worried about him because he's a lone wolf. But essentially, if you watch that 30-minute Vice news deal or whatever, it's all about him. And when his daughter and him were spoke down to a Middle Eastern little girl and how big that was and how his daughter got kicked out of college because of it and things like that. It's actually decent, but it's really revealing of the social engineering at times that the government will do and using him.
So that means there's some credibility to when people say, hey, like, you got to watch out for feds.
Yeah, I think he was more of like a provocateur for the feds. But here's the thing. I think they told him that they were looking for lone wolves. He's the definition of a lone wolf, man. I think they were really worried about him.
Yeah, because that seems like the way, no offense, I mean, that's how I'd flip it on somebody. I'd be like, hey, buddy, we need you to go find all the crazy people. Pats the crazy person on the head and just like, go find them. I know magnets attract like other magnets, so go for it.
He was definitely not insane. Just kidding.
Yeah, the guy was
not all.
Yeah, the guy was bonkers. Like he was on our side for so long, and we all knew there was something wrong with him. But as long as he's on our side, like we don't give a shit. And then after the whole like Charlottesville thing, he went crazy. He's like, "There's white nationalists everywhere," and he was like going crazy, going after us, going to our rallies and calling everyone a white nationalist, everyone a Nazi. He was shouting disgusting things to us. A bunch of fights almost broke out a couple times with us against him. And then recently he tried to, like, he was saying crazy shit. Like he said, I'm not even gonna go after the men. I'm only gonna go after the women and the children.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy shit. And then
that's when they were trying to make him a provocateur and get people in trouble. Sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, there's a lot of people. Because I mean, I think I've already admitted I smoke, but I've met a lot of people, and it seems common in the hood. That like there's always that one like wannabe macho gangster, like who you all like. Everyone knows they ain't about shit. Like we've all seen them. They think they're a blood or some shit, and they wear everything red, but everybody who's actually like banging that's a blood like kind of looks at them like, "What the fuck are you doing, you retard?" And they always kind of go around and bump chests with people, acting like they're hot because they got like a pistol or some shit their grandma gave them or they stole out of her fucking closet. So, I mean, there's always going to be those types, but the moment you hit those people, that's the moment the cop watches. I mean, it's the same in school, you know. Yeah. You can get flicked in the ear all day. It's the moment you turn around and say stop it and punch the guy, you know, because you react, that you're the one that gets caught.
Yeah, David and I can probably contest that guy definitely walked around with invisible lat syndrome. He would just walk out like his lats were too big, so his arms would be puffed out, and he just went after people, man. Absolutely, him and another gentleman.
Did he ever physically get aggressive with people, or was he just like, listen to my words? He
was baiting people into it. Like he'd get up in your face, he'd call you a fucking faggot. He'd go after the women. He would get up. He would say disgusting things. Like in the past, you know, when there was no cameras, no cops around, someone would have taken a stone to his head at some point. But
I would have knocked him out.
Yeah. Sorry. But he was definitely, you know, he was definitely asking for it, like crazy, like. He was baiting people into it, and maybe considering this whole like Fed thing, maybe you know, one of us goes to jail for punching them, and then all of a sudden we're getting a deal from somebody, right? And I don't know.
Oh, if you guys haven't seen this, it's definitely worth watching. But I thought I heard someone talking.
Hey, I was just saying, I've heard him in real life, like going after some people, and he would say some gay ass shit, dude. Like he would really say something like he would fuck him in the ass and shit like that. Right in camera, dude.
Dude, I feel like it's that fucking chicken troll, like that whole like yo man, like listen, I'll whoop your ass and then I'll suck your dick from the back. Like listen, that's one thing to hear on the internet is a troll. But like when you're going out IRL saying that, trying to get somebody to fight you, that's a little weird. Like it's expected on Call of Duty. It is unexpected when a man tries to bump chest with you and, you know, tell you he's gonna suck you from the back after you fight.
I mean, it's normal if even fucking Mike Tyson was to say in a fight, because he will really fuck you up. But
yeah, I mean, I heard if you didn't hear him too well, he would just bite your ear off if you asked him to repeat too many times.
God, that's some funny shit.
I'll tell you this: if I was going to jump a guy and there's 3 guys my size and it was one of him, and he said, "All right, if I win and I knock you guys out, I'm raping you," I would be like, "Hey man, I'm good, dude. I'm not going to risk that because there's a 10% chance that you could win." That's just too much to risk, man. I don't want to.
I actually saw like a prank video where like a guy would go up to another dude, like some rando, and he'd step on his shoe and he'd be like, "What are you gonna do about it, fucking?" And then they get ready to fight, and then he starts taking his clothes off, getting naked, and then the other dude's like, "What the fuck?" And he's like, "Come on, I thought we were gonna fight," and he starts running after him, and the other dude just bails. So I think in some ways, if you ever get into a fight and you don't think you can win, just start acting gay as fuck, and all of a sudden, the whole mood of the situation will just change.
I mean, the other option is the dude throws glitter and starts stripping as well, and you got to run with your bluff.
Dude, that's what I'm doing. I'm going to Seattle. I'm going to Portland, Oregon. Next big Antifa gathering, I'm going to go up there by myself. I'm going to start all this shit. And then they're going to surround me. I'm going to just start getting naked. I'm like, let's go. Who's getting fucked?
You know what? I almost want to see if I can get one of those like dildo chin strap things and just wear it like a unicorn horn on my forehead put it on a helmet or something, but I want to hang the Antifa flag from it. You know what I'm saying? Like, really give them a reason to fight me.
You will be etched in history, my friend.
You know, I think doing that gay shit in front of Antifa.
Boy, you know damn well they won't know whether to support me or punch me.
Or fuck you. I just realized that they're fucking trans. They're
like, yeah, they're gonna be like, listen, these guys might have real guns. All we brought was lube guns. We don't know how to handle the situation.
Yeah, there's none of them are like men. Like I saw from like the Proud Boys videos where they were fighting them. It's like the dudes have the body of a woman, and then the women are obviously like women. So it's like none of them offer.
No, the women have the bodies of their men.
Yeah, I know.
Still women.
Actually, the women are actually more manly than the men because the women are on the front lines. They're the ones actually talking shit.
You know, I'll give it to Sargon though. That was the most like feminine like bitch slap he could have ever just like mustered up. Of just like, no, child. I'm trying to give it, child, Antifa. All right, pop. Listen, I need you to move so I can continue. And the look on that kid's face right when his flag got snatched. I mean, power to fucking Sargon for that.
I like him, but at the end of the day, like when that whole like, you know, fight broke out, he didn't put in any work. It was like this based Asian guy and this based Arab guy that were in the back that were throwing all the punches. Like they were the ones that grabbed the flag, and there was a couple white guys that were fighting. Sargon literally got like manhandled by a couple Antifa guys, and then somehow he ends up with the flag at the end. But he wasn't like grabbing people, pulling bans on people, you know, breaking backs.
I also think that to be fair, I think once even you, and I'm not trying to like, you know, rub his scribble dick in your fucking face by any means. But I mean, at a point of like, even at your status of becoming somewhat of a public figure, you that comes back to that optics debate. You know, it's like, as much as I do want to like, you know, give him credit for this or that, I give more credit to people like James Alsup, who can keep their cool in those situations. And not because I like James Moore by any means, huge fan of his, but that doesn't necessarily mean that, you know, I could keep my cool. I know I have my anger issues, which is the reason I don't show up to protest. Now, if I happen to, you know, hear of one, I hear my friends getting, you know, shit kicked, like, you're damn right I'm fucking running in there, like, you know, gonna go ham. Obviously not gonna bring any weapons, but I mean, shit, my fists are good enough, you know, like, if my friends are getting attacked, you know, it's my right as a citizen and as an American to defend them every way I can. It doesn't mean using unnecessary force, but it definitely means if they're, you know, they start shit stomping a couple of my friends, shit stomp